Fuck, I love how Ben Shapiro is actually getting defeated by exactly what we told him to be worried about. We told him, hey man, if you support Zionism, if you support Israel, it's going to cause a lot of anti-Semitism to grow. It is truly phenomenal to see the left not only be proven completely correct, but for justice seemingly to accrue toward the guy who deserves it. It's kind of amazing. There's another happy Christmas Eve, everybody. Hold on, let me check my camera is working. Okay, colors are a little weird lately. What is going on here? Let me just activate. I'm anti-Mike because he interrupted this song. Oh yeah, it's too long, dude. I don't want to sit here for another like little bit. Oh, what the much too? Okay, welcome on in, ladies and gentlemen. We are live once again. Welcome on in. It is Christmas Eve and Blue Light. Thank you for the 5 gifted subs. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I hope you guys are having are you guys traveling today, or are you already there, or you're not doing anything? I didn't leave. We have an Order of Romeo? Where? Okay, there was no Order of Romeo. That was a lie. I'm not traveling this year. We are on present wrapping duty and side dish making right now. Wow. We've got an upper middle class person detected, chat. Upper middle class detected. Magic Skull 68, thank you for the 5 tier 1s. And Gargantual, thank you for the tier 3 for 60 months in a row, therefore making Order of Romeo becoming tier 3. Gargantual, everyone bend the knee to Gargantual immediately. What's Order of Romeo? Somebody who has been subscribed for 5 years. They get a special chat badge, and I call it the Order of Romeo. I'm a UPS driver delivering everyone shit. Oh God. Hassan Flex gone wrong. Holden writes, thank you for the 5 tier 1. Wait a minute. They're bringing back Among Us? We're getting COVID nostalgia now? Clear Games, thank you for the 20 tier 1s. The COVID nostalgia is coming back. They're playing Among Us? Any interest in one of the biggest politics commentators in China interviewing the chairman of the ACP? God damn it, dude. This is so fucking stupid. God, I hate Russia's fucking intelligence services so fucking much. It's such a fucking embarrassing loser shit. God damn it. This is so fucking stupid. Oh my God. The Russian intelligence services are so fucking stupid. They're so useless. They're actually fucking stupid. Russian intelligence. Yes. Yes. Russian intelligence. I know you guys are having a hard time understanding this, but ACP is 100,000 quadrillion % wrapped up in some sort of Russian intelligence op because they were doing like pro Ukrainian invasion. Not saying like, oh, you know, this shouldn't have happened because NATO. They were like pro Z shit. They were like embarrassing. And of course, Russian intelligence is dumb as fuck. And so what did they do? They're like, oh yay, we should push these guys. And now they're connecting them with like all the places the Russian intelligence has like an inroad, many of them which being counter-hegemonic groups. And they're like pushing these guys. They have no fucking base. None. And it's embarrassing. What, you think ACP is making these connects? You fucking idiot. Set Saguri Renshin, thank you for the 5 tier 1s. Like, do you, honest to God, this is the most obvious op motherfucker of all time. God, they're so fucking useless too. And they say the dumbest shit. And there's only 2 places in the world where you could really trick anybody with ACP shit. And that is Russia and China, unfortunately. Because of the way that the Communist Party of China controls politics, a lot of these kind of like socially conservative anti-American, I would just call it conservative types of politics within the context of China are subsumed within communist icons, because it's like they're conserving their state, right? They're nationalist toward their state. And so the ACP grift is incomprehensible in America, okay? Because we don't have these like nostalgic venerations of the hammer and sickle, for example. But in Russia, they do. Because in Russia, their most powerful, time in history was when they were the Soviet Union. So kind of irredentist conservative people venerate the Soviet Union's memory. Does that make, is any of this making sense? So basically the ACP's entire strategy is incomprehensible within the context of America because we don't have any of that. Socialism in America is radically left. There's no nostalgia for it. But these guys play off of nostalgia that only really makes sense in those contexts. The ACP shit is, God, the FSB is so fucking stupid. God, they're dumb. I mean, and it makes sense, right? They don't want to, like, they want to disrupt left-wing American politics with dumb shit. Because they want, obviously, if we had some sort of inward-looking left-wing government investing in domestic American politics and reducing partisanship because of the success of delivering massive gains for the working class, that would be bad for the long-term possible collapse of the U.S. I mean, if you were, I mean, maybe I'm just saying that, maybe I'm talking out of my ass here, but if you were trying to fuck up America, you would definitely try to, disable the left. I mean, it is true. Like, this is just, this guy has no motion in America. So why is he getting promoted in, in these state-connected organs in Russia and China? And it's like, FSB, the FSB. Are you really serious? This is your project? These guys, they fucking, do they even get like 1,000 viewers on any of their shit? What is the best ACP content creator? Does anyone know? Like Hinkle is just like, he just does like basically anti-Israel shit. And again, let's just say, yeah, Hinkle got like banned by YouTube. Comrade Casey, I mean, honestly, I think he's more sympathetic to them than he is ACP. Like, maybe he is, I don't know. They built a house in Minnesota. Nice. This is so embarrassing.
No intention of growing it, or it pained me to realize that the hard way. I think many Chinese.
This is just embarrassing, dude. God, the problem is it's very dangerous to do anything with China right now with the Chinese Communist Party. Like, it's actually dangerous to do that in the US. If you want every single thing you've ever done to be under the FBI's microscope, do stuff like this. So, and everybody knows that, right? So there is a much more so than even like going to Cuba or something. So everybody gets that, right? And so there is a certain trepidation about doing stuff like this. The only people that do this are dumb. God, he's fucking embarrassing. I wish the ACP was actually not what it is. It's because we really do need some sort of like far left, more, ML group, and we just don't have it. And they have that embarrassing shit.
American than the US itself, because in China you actually have government of by and for the people. You don't have that in the US.
God, it's Christmas Eve. Don't make me spend brain power on this shit. I can't stop thinking about progressive capitalists. Yes, Ro Khanna is just embarrassing. He's so fucking embarrassing. All right. Anyway, the vibes are back. Welcome on in. Welcome to the Central Committee stream. Is the Ukraine peace deal gonna happen? How are you gonna defend a Democrat who appoints Zionists and then slander ACP? It's not slander. It's just logic, dude. It's logic. It's literally logic. You think Jackson Hinkle is like going to meet, the Houthis on his own? Like, are you fucking stupid? You're gonna spend weeks and months in Russia? Like, are you stupid? Like, of course they're connected to the Russian intelligence. Are you stupid? It's basic shit. It's basic connect dot thing. Just because the CIA is existing and doing shit doesn't mean that the Russian foreign intelligence isn't doing shit. Of course they are. It's not even slander. I doubt they would even, I mean, do they even deny it at this point? He surfed with Tulsi Gabbard. That's funny. He seems to have a lot of people fooled. Doesn't the Taliban like him and share his memes? I need to realize that people don't know what I mean when I say words. One of the barriers to communication for me in general is I say things in a sequence that's very information dense, and I realize I gotta dumb it down more. I gotta dumb it down more. I made it as clear as I can, honestly. When I said like Russian intelligence is connected to a lot of counter-hegemonic forces. What are counter-hegemonic forces? Counter-hegemonic forces would be something like the Iranian government, the Chinese government, the Houthis, you know, possibly various resistance groups in Palestine. They may not be perfectly aligned, but if they're counter-hegemonic, aka counter-Western NATO forces, counter to those forces, Russian intelligence is connected with them, and they have various sorts of alignments, or and they can make introductions and things like that. All right, that's what that means. So when Jackson Hinkle is flying into fucking Yemen to do a speech in front of like a gathering of Houthis, do you think that's because they organically found out who Jackson Hinkle was and go, we like this guy, bring him to fucking Yemen? The ACP guys were visiting the DPR and LPR with the Russian military. It can't be any more clear. They're infiltrated by Russian. It isn't even that they're infiltrated. They're just, whether they agree with it or whatever's happening. It's like Tim Pool denying he knew that he was getting Russian money. Like, it is what it is. Like, Tim Pool getting Russian money should tell you everything you need to know, that the Russian intelligence is connected to the internet. And they have calculated that Tim Pool and Jackson Hinkle are going to be their internet avatars. Poor choice. Very poor choice. All I can say. Kevin O'Leary on the Adam Friedland show. Oh, God, that sounds like shit. Adam is not... I mean... I like Adam, but I don't think he's the type of guy to go up against him. But maybe he's gonna surprise me. A guy like Kevin O'Leary needs you to be a bull in the china closet. You need to be a bigger bull than him. You have to bulldoze him. He doesn't have any shame. You can't do like subtle jokes and things. He's too stupid for that. I'm visiting Florida with my family. Saw an anti-Trump billboard about the Epstein case on the way down here. Black Panthers flew to Moscow during the Cold War and met with CCP officials. Yes, but the Black Panthers were a lot cooler. The Black Panthers had a lot better politics. The Black Panthers had a organic, rooted support of the community, right? Like, the Black Panthers were a hell of a lot more real than the ACP. I just wish the ACP didn't suck. You know, when I've said this before, but when Infrared first came onto the scene, I was like, hell yeah, this guy could be fun. And then he fell down. Then he made friends with, what's that pedophile's name? Zerka. And he like looked up to Zerka. And then he fell down this like rabbit hole. And then he just became like the Destiny debate rabbit hole. And he became every single day he got dumber. So it was just like embarrassing. All right. What are we talking about today? Well, it's Christmas Eve. Chat, by the way, I will bonus gaming stream this week for you. Am I not magnanimous? Am I not magnanimous? Gaming frogs are gonna eat this week. Gaming frogs, will I announce it in my Discord? All right, what was I talking about? Why did I start talking about ACP? Oh yeah, somebody linked me a China thing. And it's like, ugh. I think the one thing that China is not very good at is the kind of like soft power infiltration. The Russians are a lot better at it. Unfortunately, their government's ideology is so terrible that they pick idiots because they don't want anybody that might criticize anything they do in any way. And what they need to understand is that in America, in the American context, you need verisimilitude. And if somebody is just a regime guy for a country they're not in, it doesn't work. Didn't you learn that in the Cold War, Russia? Like, didn't you learn that, like, guys defending the, you know, various things where they got alienated? I'm not making a single one of those up. It's just like, come on, man. But of course, they are like right wingers now. A side story I wanted to get into. Donald Trump is sanctioning 5 European tech regulators and researchers for trying to regulate tech in Europe. So they're putting sanctions on European regulators. The Trump administration, citing foreign censorship, imposed travel bans on experts involved in monitoring major tech platforms. The Trump administration is barring 5 prominent Europeans from the United States. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced on Tuesday, accusing them of being involved in online censorship of Americans, a claim they have disputed. The action sharply escalated the administration's fight against European efforts to monitor content on major social media platforms, including X, as well as Facebook and Instagram, both owned by Meta. I fucking hate Meta. I fucking hate Mark Zuckerberg. God damn, that little fucking rat. The 5 include Thierry Breton, a former member of the European Commission, whom the Undersecretary of State for Public Diplomacy, Sarah B. Rogers, called a mastermind of the Digital Services Act, a European law meant to oversee harmful or manipulative content online. The European Union imposed its first penalty under the law this month, leveling $140 million fine against Twitter for practices that misled users, obscured advertisers, and denied researchers access to eternal practices, not, as Mr. Musk claimed, for refusing to censor content. Basically, chat, what's happening is you're learning the power of the presidency for the first time, except it's being used for evil. Remember how Donald Trump, made promises and then kept them? Remember how Joe Biden just said, I can't do it. I'm too weak. I'm too weak. I'm too weak. The others are prominent researchers with nonpartisan, non-government organizations in Europe that have fought disinformation, hate speech, and other harmful content online. Donald Trump is now sanctioning Europeans for fighting hate speech. I love this because Europeans are our fucking cuck puppets, and they've been coping for decades. And it's good to see the Europeans slapped around and be put in their place. So maybe they grow a fucking spine or get some shame. I mean, not their current leadership, but certainly maybe the grassroots of Europe. Mr. Rubio said in a statement that those targeted have led organized efforts to coerce American platforms to censor, demonetize, and suppress American viewpoints they oppose, aka stuff like white supremacy is true. If you say that and you get censored, if you get punished, America considers that censorship. That's censorship now. Meanwhile, they're deporting people for protesting Israel. I want you to understand something, chat. That these people, whether they're Asmongold, Rubio, Trump, whatever, they're our enemies. Enemy, with the full vigor of the meaning of that word. That's not an analogy. I'm not analogizing it. I'm not going like, oh, somebody I really disagree with. No, I mean enemy. These radical activists and weaponized NGOs have advanced censorship crackdowns by foreign states, in each case targeting American speakers and American companies, he added. The statement underscored the administration's close alignment with the biggest platforms, whose executives threw their support behind President Trump and have openly urged his administration to push back on European regulations that could force them to do more to regulate harmful content. Not only that, chat, remember, they are openly censoring anti-Israel content. It's why they bought TikTok, and that's why the Democrats helped them do it. He once called Joe Biden fascism's midwife, and it was such a banger and one that's gone over well with radicalizing wine moms in my community. I mean, it's exactly right. Basically, on every single, I mean, he discredited opposition to the right, basically. He made you think like all the Democratic Party's big words about fighting Trumpism on the right was all bullshit. And it was, and it is. Even before Trump's second inauguration, the platforms began significantly reducing efforts to moderate content online, led by Mr. Musk, who claims to be a free speech absolutist. Except if you say cis, except if you say anything against Israel, well, whoop-de fucking shit, you get censored. Are mods allowing open ACP supporters in chat, apparently? I think somebody could be, I think someone could be a cringe ACP supporter without me banning them. Now, they might get timed out if they say something really stupid. You could just ignore them. Do you have any rule breaking things? He's insulting people. Oh, okay, hold on. Now you're going to get a nice little punishment. Okay, what did Future Brain said? He said, Zionist collaboration is okay, guy, but don't you dare travel to China or support the axis of resistance. That's not what I said, dumb fuck. I asked you to use your brain for why traveling to the occupied regions of Ukraine might be a sign you could be working with Russian intelligence. Okay, you're getting a week off. Consider this a time of pondering. Enjoy your holiday. All right. He's like, DSA is a fascist organization. Okay, that's just over the top cringe. That's an over the top cringe. The travel ban stunned experts who have tracked this information. They said the administration was basing restrictions on the belief that some Republicans have called a censorship industrial complex inside the government that colluded with researchers and social media companies to censor conservative Americans. A federal lawsuit based on that claim, brought by attorneys general of Missouri and Louisiana, reached the Supreme Court last year, but the court dismissed it on the grounds that the plaintiffs could not demonstrate any government actions that caused them harm. Even so, Mr. Trump's return to the White House in January, he and his aides have vilified efforts to fight disinformation and other manipulative content online. They have issued executive orders, dismantled federal departments that monitor such content, and cut funding for any research that touches on its prevalence. They're not doing this because they have any evidence of censorship. They lost a Supreme Court case that made those claims. They're doing this because the group of researchers and advocates have stood up to liars like Donald Trump and the platforms that enable them. I mean, that's pretty much true. Mr. Rubio cited the State Department's authority under the Immigration and Nationality Act to deny entry to anyone who would have potentially serious adverse foreign policy consequences for the United States. In other words, national security justified censorship of Europeans talking about European policy. The 5 Europeans also include Imran Ahmed, the chief executive of the Center for Countering Digital Hate, which Mr. Musk sued in 2023 after the organization documented a rise in hate speech on Twitter following his acquisition of the platform. A court dismissed the lawsuit last year as a violation of the right to free speech that Mr. Musk claims to champion. The restriction could amount to deportation for Mr. Ahmed, who recently settled in the United States with his family. He could not be immediately reached for comment. The others, according to a series of posts on X by Miss Rogers, are Claire Melford, who leads the British-based Global Disinformation Index, Anna Lena von Hodenberg, and Josephine Ballon, both leaders of Hate Aid, a group based in Germany. Miss Rogers cited an interview that Miss Ballon gave on CBS 60 Minutes, in which she said free speech needs boundaries. In a statement, the Global Disinformation Index denounced the travel ban as an authoritarian attack on free speech and an egregious act of government censorship. Their actions today are immoral, unlawful, and un-American. No, they're pretty American. Miss Breton wrote on X on Tuesday evening, "Is McCarthy's witch hunt back? Back? It never went away." Miss von Hodenberg and Miss Ballon, in a joint statement, called the travel ban an act of repression by a government that is increasingly disregarding the rule of law and trying to silence its critics by any means necessary. Honestly, it's very like the strategy that the Trump administration is employing smacks of Poland or Hungary under their right-wing populist dictators. I mean, sorry, leaders. My therapist just retired. Oh my God. This is free Plan B's therapist.
All day.
Hi, my name.
Okay, come on. No, I wanted the original. Where's the original? No, I don't want you. No. Wait, they deleted the video? No, he deleted the video. It was so good. Fuck you, Mike. I was just kidding. I just like his comedy sometimes, you know? I needed that today. My God, they're all morons. And they're stupid fucking problems. Mike, are you going to give your take on the plurb? I'm still waiting. No, this is the students. This is his version of my students. He has a I'm a therapist, and my he did a therapist one. The students all morons is good too, but
My students are all morons! I give them everything to know, and they still fail. Always! And it's not because I'm a bad teacher. I'm a very good teacher. It's because they're stupid! And then the parents ask, why aren't you teaching them good enough? Why didn't you teach them to read? It's your fault your kid's stupid, not mine. My students are all morons!
this is honestly, Dan, he kind of hit with this. Oh, this is it. Thank you. Fuck.
I hate being a therapist! Ah! All day. I just have to listen to people complain about their stupid problems, and I just want to be like, shut up! Nobody cares! This is the only honest advice you're ever going to get from a therapist. Get over it! I hate being a therapist! Ah!
I think what makes these videos rule is that it is an expression of all of our anxiety with how our teachers feel, how people in positions of trust and authority feel about us. Really, your therapist secretly hates you and your dumb problems, or your teacher thinks you're an idiot. But so there's that anxiety, so everybody laughs at it because that's kind of like, you know, an invasive thought or fear that people have. But on the other side of it, therapists are like, yeah, that's true. I hate my fucking clients. And teachers are like, yes, my students are fucking morons. So the anxiety is true, is like actually something we all feel. But in many ways, it's true. You feel that anxiety because you're kind of sensing that your teacher does think you're a moron, or your therapist is kind of tired of your bullshit. But they're forced to be there because they need money. And they're holding back because just because they have that feeling doesn't mean it's their real fucking opinion, right? So this hits on so many levels, and I love it. It's such good content. Like, it's such good comedy, and he's kind of a genius, guys. He's kind of a genius. Like honestly, I think it's a little bit off-putting. Like, if you're not Like it's made to make you feel uncomfortable. That's kind of the fun of it. That's part of what makes it funny for me, is that him being completely unhinged is so inappropriate for a teacher or a therapist that adds another layer of comedy to it. It's fucking good, man. I understand not liking it if it, oh God, listen, I love my students, but sometimes they are bored. Exactly. This one was legendary.
I got a call this morning from AAA. AAA is a car insurance company. Car insurance.
Not really, but kind of.
Is something that you pay for because you have to for some reason. When you become an adult and you attempt to live in society, every single aspect of being alive costs between $100 and $1,000 to $2,000. Every single thing. And the older that you get, the more things keep being added. So you work like a dog all month so that you can afford every single hand that's sticking out in your face saying, you have to pay this because otherwise you won't have car insurance because you need car insurance to drive, and you need car insurance because you have to drive a car and you have to go to your job and you have to do all this stuff. And please, if you're thinking at this point, well, you don't have to have car insurance. If you want to drive a car, then you have to get insurance because that's your decision. No, it isn't. No, it's not my decision because I live in a city that is car dependent. I live in a country that is car dependent. So don't be fucking cute and say that I should take the Los Angeles Metro.
This is why he's such a he's such a good genius. Honestly.
Spare me.
He's so good.
I call this morning from AAA law enforcement. Or fucking goddamn it. From AAA. I don't even know from AAA car insurance. AAA car insurance. And they said, Mr. Henschel, there's a problem. One other thing about being an adult is that you have something called a cell phone. On your cell phone, you get about 100 calls a week that are complete gibberish nonsense from a basement in Malaysia. You get 100 phone calls a week from random series of numbers. If you answer the phone call, you will hear complete silence. You also get one phone call a week that if you don't pick it up, it will ruin your life. So somewhere...
He's so good, dude. He's so fucking funny, man. This is the comedian chat, and he does... Oh, fuck. So good, dude. This is the 21st observational comedy. 21st century.
There is an extremely important phone call. The same thing happens with your mail. Every week, you get 1,000 fucking pieces of trash and one very, very important letter that if you don't answer, you go to jail. This morning, I got one of those phone calls in the magic grab bag, and I picked it up. It was AAA. And they said, Mr. Henschel, unfortunately, it seems that there was a lapse in your coverage because you switched your driver's license. You had a Maryland driver's license, and then you got a California driver's license. And you need to give us your California driver's license information now. Otherwise, you don't get to have car insurance. And if you drive your car, you can go to jail.
This is what I'm talking. Can I just for 1 second take the bit seriously for a second? He's completely right in the sense that America's set up with a bunch of assholes, Peter puffers, dipshits, constantly setting up tripwires in front of you. Half of our society is just people setting up little tripwires in front of you. My bank sold part of itself. So what the bank that I opened my account in, they sold that physical branch to not all their branches, just like 8 branches of my bank was sold to a different bank. But because I opened my fucking account in that branch, I then got absorbed into this new fucking bank. And so all the auto pays I had set up, all the things I had set up get fucking canceled. I have to manually go around the entire fucking internet for all my stupid subscriptions and bullshit auto pays. It goes set them up fucking again and hope I don't now get a ding on my credit score because I forgot. Oh, I forgot to switch over my stupid water bill fucking auto pay. So now, see what I mean? Like, the entire society is assholes setting up little tripwires to fuck you over. And God forbid you don't remember to switch your stupid fucking auto pay because it now means you're a degenerate who deserves to be homeless. And I honest to God, it fucking sucks. And it's stupid. Our country is unlivable because it's full of nothing but parasites. We need to take societal ivermectin. Okay? We need societal ivermectin. Your taxes should be done by the government automatically. You shouldn't have to do a goddamn thing. It should just be done by the fucking government. I should not have to crawl through 8 fucking apps. And then those apps get purchased by other people. So then I'm sorry, you did your app on that company last year. Fuck you. It got purchased by Turbo Asshole Tax. So you've lost it. So God forbid a hard drive dies with your fucking stupid shit on. Oh, will you have it backed up? Is it backed up on Dropbox or is it on iCloud or is it on Google Drive? Fuck you. Okay. I'm getting inspired by Herschel. Society is bullshit. Or, God forbid, oh, I have to print it out and put it in a safe that I carry around with me everywhere and I never look at except for one day a year. I better have that organized or I'm going to have a fucking mental breakdown. Or the government could just do it for you. I used the IRS filing app last year and Trump admin killed it, so now I have to pay to file again. I mean, he's right.
So I said, okay. Keep in mind also, the thing that really bothers me about all these people, car insurance, credit card, landlords, fucking everybody, the utility company, the water company, they all speak to you as though you are voluntarily doing this, as though they are doing you a favor. I don't want to pay for any of this shit. I don't want to do any of this. I didn't ask to do any of this at all. I didn't ask for it. I didn't even have to be fucking alive. I don't want to do this. I don't want to pay my car insurance. I don't want car insurance. I don't want to give you my new driver's license. I don't want to fucking do that. But I have to for some fucking reason. Because for some fucking reason, in order to be alive, you have to pay 20 different people $200. And you have to keep reciting random digits of numbers. Everything about being alive is just fucking numbers over and over again. Important numbers for this, important numbers for that. You gotta type in this password, you gotta type in this number, you gotta type in this thing, and if you get it wrong, you're gonna go to jail. I didn't say any of this to the lady. I just said, sure, let me just give you this fucking number so that I can move on with my life and attempt to enjoy anything about anything. Here it is. Click, clack, click, clack. Click clacks for a little while, and then she says, I'm sorry, Mr. Henschel, we can't offer you coverage. So I said, excuse me, because I've had AAA for 3 fucking years. What's the problem? And she said, well, it appears that you were in an accident about a year ago. And I said, yeah, I was in a fender bender. My one accident that I've had in the past 5 years. I drive because I'm forced to by society. I drive for about 75% of my day, every day. And one fucking time, an old lady cut in front of me going 20 miles per hour on the freeway, and I couldn't slow down in time, and I bumped her in the back. Remember, this is a satire account. And she said, well,
Remember, this is a satire account. He has to say, I'm not confessing. This is a satire.
It appears that this was a 2-point accident. And I was like, what does that fucking mean? Everything is numbers, remember? Random numbers that mean.
Can I just say that this is actually such a good political organizing idea, and it's something that I've been kind of cooking up for myself, which is the government should just be stopping you from having to deal with annoying bullshit. Instead of having the FBI go to people's doors for saying Israel is bad, how about the FBI goes to fucking Mumbai and we send SEAL Team 6 into every stupid fucking calling center for scammers? Instead of America's Most Wanted being people arguing for racial justice, how about America's Most Wanted is every annoying fucking insurance scammer? And when I say insurance scammer, I don't mean people that scam insurance companies. I mean the CEOs. I should not have to, like, car insurance should be part of the cost of a car. It should be provided by the government. Like, you should, if you buy a car, there should be a fund collected by the government to pay for medical bills associated with cars. And there should be Medicare for all, so it should just be an additional tax to help fund Medicare for all. No more. Now, if you want collision or some other bullshit, great, you can get collision. I legitimately, so your taxes should be done for you. You should not have to do anything to get insurance, health insurance. Homeowners insurance should be included. It should be paid for by the fucking government. The other thing is, I mean, everything is so fucked in America. I don't even know how you fix it. It's so fucked.
Mean something for some reason. It was a 2-point accident, and we can only insure you if you have a 1-point accident. So I was like, what does that mean? And she said, well, a 2-point accident is when the person claims injury. So you hit this person, and then apparently she was injured. So I was like, well, how do we know that? I mean, what do you mean she was injured? It was a very, very light accident. And so what if she was injured? Last I checked, the only conceivable point of having car insurance is in case something like this happens. That's what car insurance is supposed to be for, in theory. When you think about if there is any rational reason why you would need to have car insurance, it is for the purpose that if at one point...
I don't know how he does it, man. He's so committed to the craft that he lets his car bake in the fucking sun just so he could sweat during these rants. He's such a fucking beast.
During the 75% of your life that you're in a fucking car, you happen to get in an accident, you're not completely fucked. So why, if I got in one accident, am I fucked anyway? Because the last time that I checked, the reason I was paying for this fucking shit, $200 a month, $300 a month, in case anything happened, right? So then why, if something happens, then am I not allowed to have the insurance that I fucking paid for in case something happened? Why did I bother then? What are you for? Are you just a fucking mafia that you come to collect your $200 every fucking month?
Yes.
And if I need to use your service for anything, then I'm totally fucked because then I can't renew your stupid fucking insurance. And I said, so I didn't say any of this. I just said very politely, well, I was kind of stunned for a minute because all of that was going through my head. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, what are my options then? And she said, well, now you can't be insured by AAA, so we work with another agency who blah, 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 and then we'll call this person, they'll call you, and then you call them, and then they'll give you the numbers, and then you give them the numbers, and then you'll have to pay a much bigger number than you were already paying before. The point I'm trying to illustrate here is, what the fuck? I didn't ask for any of this. I, this morning, woke up, and I said, God fucking damn it. I just need a fucking win. I just need one thing. Just one thing. Please, God. I don't believe in God. But I said a prayer last night. I said, God, can you please just let one good thing happen tomorrow? Because I gotta be honest here. I'm paying all these random corporations my entire paycheck, and I can't figure out why. I don't want to, but I have to. I have to pay rent. I have to pay my bullshit. Why?
I love this because there's so many like deeper philosophical threads that are weaved through this, but he presents himself as kind of a beleaguered guy who's in over his head. But when you listen, you read between the lines of what he's talking about, the existential dread, the kind of like pessimism toward life itself, the Kafka-esque bureaucratic blather that we should really be examining. Why the fuck is this like this? Why are we designing our society to be this fucking stupid? I think the biggest piece of propaganda that pisses me off about being American is so many Americans have this kind of general opinion that if you are average, you deserve to suffer. Not even stupid. Like, if you're just a kind of normal person, you deserve to have a life that sucks. And only people who are extraordinary get to enjoy life. And God forbid the person is not outstanding. God forbid the person is below average. Well, they deserve to be in pain. They're not even allowed to have fun. They deserve to have a shock collar on, turned up to high. Instead of having a society where everybody is having a good time generally, and the better you do, the more you can fulfill your, potential or whatever. It is like, oh, I'm sorry, sir. Your auto pay lapsed on your health insurance, and so we're going to have to cancel that. We're going to have to cancel your health insurance. And it isn't even social Darwinism, because you're not even selecting for outstanding talent. You're selecting for people that are OCD about paperwork, checking boxes that any literate could figure out, but you just bury people in a blizzard of bullshit. The government should be an army of paper pushers and paying things on your behalf. Yes, basically everything should automatically be done. And the amount you pay depends on how much you make. That's it. Everything's just automated. And then you go get a job, and then based on how much you make, the government takes money out of your account. And that's that. And then there's a breakdown of everything that you're paying for. And it should be up income tax. Okay, $60 of your income tax went to the Pentagon. $1 went to education. So people can actually see what the fuck you're spending their money on. You assume social Darwinism is only applicable when selecting for useful qualities. Yes, I get what you're saying. It's baffling. So good.
I'm waiting for the guy to call me back that's at the other insurance company, so that I won't be in legal trouble for driving my car. And he hasn't called me, so. I don't get it, because I guess my honest question is supposed to be the good part of this. Is that just a question that everybody is too stupid to ask? Is that just a question that doesn't occur to most people who don't have mental health problems? Is that a question that they just don't think about? What is supposed to be the fucking point? Why am I doing all of this? Nobody could tell me that at any point in my childhood. When I was in high school, when I was in school, and they were saying you have to get this grade so that you can get into a good college and you can get money to go to a good college, and if you go to college so you can get a job, and this is why you have to do all of these things that you don't want to do and that don't make any sense and that suck. That is why you cannot enjoy a single second of your life, because you do now. You won't be able to do all of these different things. And the question that I had over and over again to everybody in my life was, why? Why the fuck would I do any of that? Why do I want to do any of that? Why? What is the purpose of doing any of that? And nobody could ever give me a straight fucking answer. They would just be like, well, because you have to do that. But nobody could at any point ever tell me what the was in it for me. So I didn't do it, because I dared to ask the question, why? Don't you hate doing all of this? Why are you totally fine with all of this? Is it because you're fucking stupid? Because that's what I'm left to assume. Is it because you were too stupid to ask that question when you still had a chance to change your life? And now the fact that I am asking it is raising something inside you that you have tried to suppress so hard, because if it arises at all, you're gonna fucking kill yourself? Is that it? Because I bothered to ask why. They call me a spoiled brat. They called me entitled. And the whole time I sort of was wondering, let me remind you of something. I didn't ask to be born. I've said that in a lot of videos because it's something that I think is another question that most people don't ever consider. You are telling me all of this stuff that I have to do as if I wanted to do it in the first place. You're telling me all of this as if I should be grateful for the opportunity to do it. I'm not. If you had asked me, if at some point when I was floating around in the ether, if you had asked me, would you like to be siphoned into a human body so that you can experience what it is like to live in a bureaucratic nightmare society? The good parts will be fucking drinking, doing drugs, falling in love, but even that gets bad eventually. Having kids if you decide that you're so bored, and that's it. You know, your relations, yeah. I would have said no.
Dan is like one of these guys who I really enjoy this type of comedy. Obviously I do. It's me. Like, come on. And the way he can occupy these kind of broad, important thoughts that we really should be reckoning with in our society and asking ourselves, is our society actually addressing these existential concerns? Are we actually drawing out people's potentialities, or are we seeing them as mere pawns? And our elites are psychotic, blood drinking, child raping freaks. And so, of course, they just see you as a pawn and they don't care about your mental health or your, actualization. Why aren't more people angrier is what I want to know. Like, I look at shit and I'm like, you guys are too calm. Like, everybody's bitching and moaning about how polarization is getting worse, and everyone's mad. And I'm like, you're all not even mad. That's not what mad looks like. Oh, I whined a little bit. I'm so mad. No, you're not fucking mad. That's not mad.
I'm perfectly happy floating around in this ether here, this little ball.
Am I too mentally ill to get this comedy? This is unironically exactly how I think and why I'm suicidal. Oh, okay. See, the reason why this isn't as funny to you is because I hate to be so simplistic, but I do think this is it's embarrassing, but I do think Maslow's hierarchy is kind of useful for visualizing what we're talking about. See, if you're somebody who has achieved some of these things, like if you're up here, if you're up in these two, like my life, when you're up here, I can't help but want to lower a rope ladder down for people down here. Like that's my self-actualization. My self-actualization is trying to, put my hand down and pull as many people up here as I can. And so for me, I see this, and for me, it's part of like my, yes, you're on the right path. Help people like Daniel. Daniel is obviously a character, and he's expressing the anxieties of people that are struggling in these bottom three, right? And so for me, this is like, it's comedic because, yes, exactly. Why is society like this? And so if you're down here, if you're struggling with your physiological needs or your safety needs or your love and belonging needs, I understand why you feel shitty. It's called shit life syndrome. Shit, like you're depressed because your shit is depressing. Like, you're right. Like, you're feeling the right way you ought to feel. If your life is fucking terrible and painful, feeling shitty about that is called being normal. And the entire project of being on the left is realizing that we need to build a society where these things are functionally taken care of as a matter of course, that you don't choose to be alive. And those of us who are alive have a responsibility for the next generation that's being brought into the world, that they don't have to live in pain and depression over this shit, that we can all pull together and work on this stuff at the top. That's the project of the left. The project of the left is to eliminate the anxiety. This is what poverty is. Poverty is safety and physiological needs not met. That's what poverty is. That's why the left is about abolishing these anxieties. That's our project.
Of gas. I'm good.
Why do you say Maslow's hierarchy of needs is not good? Because it's a bit simplistic. It's simplistic, and there's more to life than this. I think creativity should have its own section, as opposed to like self-actualization is too general. There's just problems with and I don't know about the idea that you have to completely, like, it's too mechanistic, but it's fine. It's fine as a general kind of sense of like, oh yeah, this makes it, like, yes, if I don't have air, I don't care if I have self-esteem. Okay, like, I need the air. I need to be able to, like, if I'm choking to death, having a medal on my chest probably doesn't make me feel good. My shrink said I had reasons to be depressed. Shit life syndrome, basically. The problem with that is it doesn't really help you, right? Like, we need to actually pull you out of shit life. We have a joint responsibility that no one has a shit life. Literally, I mean this. Because we don't choose to be alive, we have a collective, solidaristic responsibility to make sure that no one has a shit life. Literally.
I didn't have a choice because my fucking, no offense, but I am the product of somebody's boredom. The reason that I was created was because I was something to do. I was something to fill the time. I was the lazy answer to that question for somebody else. And now I am expected to perpetuate that cycle of abuse and usage. Well, I'm not going to. That's why I'm not having kids. We got enough. I'll figure something else out to do with my time. Still nothing.
So philosophically, we talk about this. This is like Schopenhauer-esque pessimism, right? Not the biggest fan because he's kind of right-wing coded. Me and my wife decided to be foster parents exactly because of this. Well, that's nice. This type of humor is like absurdist literature like Camus. They wrote stories that were ridiculous and absurd to highlight society's contradictions as a way to consider them, but also to laugh at the absurdity of it. Yeah, of course. I think not wanting to have children is a completely acceptable and good decision to make, but I don't like anti-child culture. I don't like anti-natalism. I think that's fucking weird. And it starts to bleed into hatred of children, which I think is anti-human and weird. Again, weird. So yeah, I think it's totally cool. If you don't personally want to have kids, I don't think you should have kids. I agree with you. And I don't think that's weird to not want kids. I think that's totally normal. But I think when I know why people get radicalized into those takes, because they get pressured by society to have kids, especially parents and shit. I get it. I don't like a culture that is anti kids, or I just don't like the Reddit child free type energy. It's like Reddit atheism. If you don't say Camus right now, yeah, I know it's Camus, but I don't like French words. Fuck the French.
Well, I'll tell you this. Thank God this doesn't last forever. And thank God it doesn't make a fucking difference. Thank God. I never understood people who were afraid of death because, for me, that's my why. The only answer to the questions that I've raised in this video that I've been able to come up with is because I'm going to die. It doesn't matter. Fine. Fine. I'll get to go back to the ether, the floating cloud where I was before I was born. And I don't remember that. So maybe I'll even get reincarnated as a bougainvillea. Wouldn't that be nice? Although I hope it's not my bougainvillea that I got from the Home Depot, because I killed that thing in a month. Alright, I'm sick of this crap.
God, he's
See you
so
later.
funny, dude. Chef's kiss, dude. Chef kiss. God, he's fucking fun. I mean, and people like him. It's not like he's some sort of hidden gem. Like, no, people love Daniel. Like, he's the best. How are people not this angry all the time? This isn't even satire anymore. This is just real life. Most people don't need therapy. They need about $2,000. Paying $200 to 20 different people just to be alive is so true, man. The line between satire and real is melting fast. I don't smoke crack, but I'm far less judgmental of those who do the older I get. What a king. All right, so what else are we talking? It's Christmas Eve, chat. Is everybody traveling for the holiday? Are you at home? What's going on? Mate, I am angry all the time. I'm also fucking tired. I've been trying to get people around me to even acknowledge that things are this bad. All I've done is exhaust myself. Okay, the first thing that I would say is you need to learn how to agitate, not be agitated. As a left, so if you're here, you're ready to grow up. You've figured out that things are fucked up and you want to change it. That's why you're here. Now is the time for you to learn how to become calm again, because you know the answers. People that know what they're talking about get to be calm. Now, I am doing a show where I'm communicating with you guys and educating, and I'm agitating you, and I have a certain style. You shouldn't, copy my style. My style is appropriate in a certain context. In a different context, I operate in a different way. You have to learn to be an operator. And what I mean by that is you understand the structures of society. You understand the malfeasors of society. You understand a path forward. Now we need to build an army. You don't recruit people with drill sergeants. You recruit people with recruiters. Drill sergeants are later. So I think one of the things that happens is you'll see me. I'm a drill sergeant. I'm trying to turn somebody who already agrees with me into something useful. You're trying to run up to people that are uninvolved and yell in their face. Well, that's not going to ever work. Okay. If you want to change people's minds, the first thing you need to learn is how to ask the right questions. And the second thing is you need to find like-minded people that you don't have to convince. That's another thing. You need comrades. That's why I advocate joining organizations like DSA, so that you can find people that are pretty much on the same page as you, and so that you can have a mental kind of relaxation of like, oh, there are a lot of other people that agree with me. And when you feel that in person, it can give you a lot of serenity because you're like, okay, not everyone's a fucking moron. Okay. So that's what I would recommend for you. If you feel like you're new to the left and you're full of all this vim and vigor and you want to go and yell at people and you finally understand what's fucked up and how to fix it, what you need to learn is how to cultivate calm. That's why we always bring up that quote from Gramsci. That's why I always this is the motto of this stream. We need to create sober, patient people who do not despair in the face of the worst horror and who do not get excited about every little thing. Pessimism of the intellect, optimism of the will. What does that mean? It basically means you understand it now. When Kamala Harris got her ass beat, did I despair? When Zoran won, did I become a fucking Zoran super simp that never criticized him again? When AOC won, did I become an AOC super simp? I was sober. I am patient. When wins happen, I celebrate them. When horrible horrors happen, do I despair? No, I understand. Horrors just mean the necessity of our own victory is underlined. The other quote that I think about a lot is from Xi Jinping, and he says that communism is the project of many generations. I think the first thing you need to do is you need to let go of the idea that you're going to make it to the promised land. Give yourself the freedom to accept that you may not see ultimate victory. You need to be bloody minded enough to accept that we may not see ultimate victory. What we may do is be the hinge point. People are going to look back at this period and see people like us turning the tide. That will be a generation to be remembered. Give yourself solace with that. They'll be making video games about the period where capitalism finally fell. I want to be on one of the skill trees. Okay? I want people to have to play political power to hire Mike from PA, socialist agitator. Okay, like that is what we should be thinking about. Since it's Christmas Eve, can we get your thoughts? No. Don't even get me started with the way that people have become fucking weird.
I must have the wrong house.
Sister. Oh, I missed you so much. They waited up all night for you, you know.
It's a long way from West Africa. Oh, coffee.
What are they, fucking Mormon? Like, what's going on here?
He's here.
I brought you something from far away.
Really? Oh.
God, this is Obama's America.
What are you doing?
You're my present this year.
The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Back when commercials were allowed to be wholesome. SNL did a parody of this that was actually funny, where the parents are distraught that their kids are way too close. Yeah, it was. I don't know about you guys who have actual siblings. That's not how you feel toward them. You don't feel that way toward them. You're like, we're on the same team, I guess. And you would fight for them and you would die for them, but you don't like them, right? And even if you do like them, they're a little bit annoying. All right. One of the best stories I've ever heard is basically China is killing Israel's diamond business. This story made me so happy. I have to share it with you. So how do I explain this? Basically, Israel gets blood diamonds from Africa and launders them through Israel. And then if you try to buy diamonds directly from Africa, people will say it's a blood diamond. But if you import it through Israel, they will do this like blood washing. Well, they'll claim it's like an ethical diamond. So if you look at Israel's exports, you'll see diamonds are a major part of Israel's exports. Now, if you know anything about Israel, you'll understand that that's fucking weird because there are 0 diamond mines in Israel. So how the fuck is 20% of Israel's exports diamonds? Well, the answer is there are a few Israeli billionaires who have relationships with death squads in Africa. In fact, that one of them was so bad that he was sanctioned by Biden because of doing so much blood diamond death camp shit. Here it is. Biden administration reopposes sanctions on Israeli mining magnate. Biden administration reinstates sanctions on Israeli billionaire Dan Gertler, who was granted repeat by former President Donald Trump. I want you to understand something, chat. If the Democrats are doing something to an Israeli, that person is literally eating baby flesh openly. Okay, like it takes basically a pure demon from hell to get a Democrat to do anything. Okay, so I want you to understand that this guy should not be allowed to walk around without being arrested by the International Criminal Court. United States on Monday revoked a sanctions waiver for Israeli mining magnate Dan Gertler that was issued in the last days of the Trump administration. The Treasury Department said exempting Gertler from sanctions was inconsistent with America's strong foreign policy interests in combating corruption around the world, specifically in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The Treasury imposed the sanctions in December 2017 and 2018, accusing Gertler of using his friendship with Democratic Republic of Congo's former president, Joseph Kabila, to win sweetheart mining deals worth more than $1 billion. The Trump administration eased the sanctions in a secret action in its last week in office in January. So anyway, China has developed this artificial diamond industry, you know, lab diamond industry, where you get diamonds that are way bigger and way more flawless, and it's made of carbon. So it's not that expensive. We can have diamond encrusted everything if we really wanted. So in order for diamonds to hold their value, they have to create this entire fucking, fantasy that real diamonds are more authentic or whatever the fuck.
Good morning. Israel's diamond industry is collapsing, and insiders there say it faces existential threats because of developments in the United States and in other global markets. The president of the Israel Diamond Exchange is complaining here that the United States has high tariffs on diamonds from Israel, but lifted the tariffs on diamonds coming from the European Union. Israeli exports of polished diamonds fell 36% year over year. The Israel-U.S. diamond trade is critical to Israel's economy. 8% of Israel's total exports across all industries and countries across the world are diamond exports to the United States. So the U.S. is the most important market for Israeli diamonds, and the loss of the market share in the American market means that the industry is threatened with extinction. This is Forbes, whose readership is mostly American. If you have a diamond or ever bought one, you are probably supporting U.S.-Israel trade, even though you probably didn't know it.
I was thinking of like, when I go to China, I'm going to get myself a nice lab-made diamond. I'm going to get myself a nice lab-made diamond.
Until 2016, Israel was a top supplier of American diamonds, at least 30% every year.
Why? Because it's a big fuck you to Israel. That's why. You go to China and you get yourself a nice lab-made diamond. You can come back home and when people see it, they'll go, wow, that diamond's incredible. Where'd you get it? Be like, oh yeah, I got it in China. It's way cheaper there. Don't buy any diamonds in America. They're from Israel. I want to destroy the Israeli economy.
But in 2016, India became the top importer of diamonds, Israel dropping to number 2. Here we see the problem for the Israelis. Their number 1 customer for diamonds is the United States, and that market's going away. The sources of diamonds are not documented, so few buyers know where the diamonds are actually coming from. Forbes suggests that American buyers of diamonds are unaware they're buying from Israel at all, but that's just the half of it. The Israeli diamond industry contributes about $1 billion a year to the IDF. And every time someone buys a diamond from Israel, some of that money goes to the military. That's an Israeli economist saying that, by the way.
And that's why it's absolutely necessary. And not only that, it supports death squads in Africa. So every time you buy a diamond from Israel, you're supporting corruption in Africa and the murder of innocents. Never buy a natural diamond from Israel ever, never, ever, ever, never, ever, ever. It's why it's so important that we make sure to destroy people's interest in these kind of diamonds.
One example is here that the head of Steinmetz Diamond Group has adopted a brigade in the IDF and buys equipment. Israel is not a producer itself of any uncut stones. The Israeli firms export low-cost rough diamonds, then do the cutting and branding, and then export the high value-added.
This is, in a nutshell, how the global industry works. 16 of the 20 largest diamond producing countries are poor African nations who see limited economic benefit from them. And that's why the West hates China so much. Because China is coming in and offering a different deal to Chinese countries and being like, hey, do you want some help building up your infrastructure? We'll give you a low interest loan and we'll bring in our experts and we'll help you develop your own domestic industry. Would you like to build an electric grid? Here, we'll bring in low cost solar panels. And so America's like, no, those countries are in debt to the IMF. They have to give us all their natural resources at cut rate prices. China's doing imperialism. Every time you hear the word Chinese imperialism, what you're hearing is a State Department propaganda lie so that the IMF and American and European business interests rape and pillage Africa. Okay? That's what you're hearing. So if you ever hear anybody going, well, China's doing imperialism too, they're a fucking idiot. Literally an idiot. And it's also chauvinistic as fuck. Because it's like, the person knows so little about how the world actually works today, they think China coming in is imperialism to Africa. They think Africa is pristine and decolonized. Like, you have to be dumb as fuck to think that. It's like saying Cuba colonized Angola because they helped them fight against white supremacy. Cuba's colonizing Africa. They're helping overturn apartheid in South Africa. That's colonizing Africa. That is what you sound like. And just like China's doing a genocide, the China's doing debt trap diplomacy is not true. That was projection. You know who does debt trap diplomacy? The United fucking States and Europe. You know who you should ask to find out? Ukraine. Donald Trump right now is forcing Ukraine to give up 50% of their minerals in order to keep getting support in the war against Russia that the United States basically pushed Ukraine into. Does anybody call that debt trap diplomacy? And so, you know, I'm not saying that there's no Chinese companies that do fucked up shit in Africa. There's no individuals that have done bad things. I don't want you to think that this is uncritical support. But if you actually compare the way China operates in Africa versus the way, say, France operates in Africa, it's night and fucking day. China is much more close to an equal, making a mutually beneficial deal with another equal, whereas the United States and Europe set up extractive puppet states where they put in the most corrupt, evil pieces of shit, and none of the money goes to the development or helping regular people. It's actually shocking how evil we are. And that's why China needs to be an alternative in Africa, so that Africans have people to bid against each other, so that they have an opportunity to develop and get outside assistance where they're treated like an equal, as opposed to neo-colonialized, dominated, and subjected.
Difference. In fact, none of the top 5 exporters.
It's crazy because China should get kudos for this. It's just basic common sense and basic trade relations if you want a stable and peaceful world. China wants a stable and peaceful world. The United States doesn't. The United States would rather dominate the ashes. China wants to develop by selling their products. And if they understand that the best target for their goods is going to be countries that are not currently buying them and not currently developed. Hey, China is an expert at building railroads and solar panels. Who needs railroads and solar panels? Countries in sub-Saharan Africa, perfect customers. So what does China need to do? They need to help develop those countries and build up their infrastructure. Well, if China's infrastructure expertise is being used in Africa, well, Africa's economy is going to grow. The productivity in Africa is going to grow. The wealth of Africa is going to grow. The United States does not see Africa as a place that's going to be a consumer of their products. They see a place where raw resources can be extracted. Mike, look at infrastructure projects built by the U.S. IMF versus Chinese sources. The U.S. builds one railway from the mines to the coast and fucks off. China builds roads, rail networks, and airports without crippling debt deals. I know. In the West, jewelers do not speak up enough about Israeli diamonds for fear of being blacklisted by their suppliers in other parts of the industry. It's a small community. If people do not want to work with you, it's difficult to create jewelry, especially for independent creators. This is where consumers could shift this aspect of the industry. If more and more people openly boycott Israeli diamonds, it could really make a difference. I would love to partner with a jeweler and do a social media campaign about how we're anti-Israel diamond. I think that would go so fucking hard on social media. Like, that is $1 million idea. I would love to do that. Now, you would be fucking blacklisted by everybody in the jewelry industry, but it would be $1 million idea. Am I effing? I'm dropping frames. My internet is shitting out. Why is my internet shitting out? Is Twitch breaking or is it my internet? Okay, so it's not me. It's not me, chat. It's fucking Twitch. Like, what the fuck? Not my internet. Look at my download. Look at my upload. It is while I'm streaming, by the way. Not me. It's not weather. I'm hardwired. If you're in LA, it's raining, so you're cooked. What is the best way for a small independent jeweler to get in touch with you? I don't know. Message me. Did you see this recent Fern vid about the new road China's building in Afghanistan? It's so well done. I might have to see this. 5 million? That's ridiculously low amount of money for a road. America spent trillions at Afghanistan and didn't develop anything. That's incredible.
So diamonds actually produce the gems, which are mainly sourced from Africa. So this industry globally is dependent on countries in Africa to dig up the uncut stones and moving them out and doing the high-end finishing elsewhere. How that tends to work for Israeli diamond companies is described here. International Diamond Industries got a monopoly on diamond production in the DRC in exchange for weapons and military training by the IDF. The company paid $20 million for the concession, which generates $600 million per year. In Sierra Leone, Steinmetz spent just $1.2 million to lock up half the company that produces 90% of all the diamonds there. In 1 year, the company produced $200 million worth. All these bribes and covert weapons transfers to African countries are for naught, though, given the changes in the diamond markets on the demand side. In the United States, most of all. Per carat, Israel is earning fewer dollars than any time in recent memory. The blue line on this chart should be read as Israelis' producer price. Rough diamond prices are falling, which should be good news.
The Rappaport rough price estimate.
But think of that red line as their top line number, the revenues received for polished stones. In just 2 years, raw materials costs fell 29%, but finished prices fell 39%. Israeli banks and investors are pulling out. Bank financing last year plummeted to $508 million, the lowest ever. A protracted decline in market activity means there is no business to finance. Diminished utilization and allocation. Israel's diamond trade is shrinking. This chart goes back 20 years, and we see the extreme outlier year of 2020, the COVID year when nobody was allowed to go shopping for rings. The industry bounced back.
Bro, why am I effing so much? Why the fuck am I effing so much? This sucks. This is supposed to be a fucking... I'm doing a China video right now. This sucks. I was making my China video about how China is destroying Israel's diamond industry. The editors are going to have a hell of a time making a video out of this. This sucks. Fuck you, Twitch, you fucking piece of shit website. 20,000 drop frames. Come on, man. Stop talking about hurting Israel's economy. Okay, we're back.
A protracted decline in market activity means there is no business to finance. Diminished...
He made his video right next to somebody who's cutting something.
Utilization and allocation. Israel's diamond trade is shrinking. This chart goes back 20 years, and we see the extreme outlier year of 2020, the COVID year when nobody was allowed to go shopping for rings. The industry bounced back, but at a lower level than before, and the downward trend is clear. The Israel Diamond Exchange is losing membership, and in the first 7 months of 2024, exports of polished stones dropped 33% year over year. In July, they were down by half. Amid Israel's war on Gaza, buyers stopped coming, and they eventually canceled the big International Diamond Week event. So India has taken the lead in the natural stone markets, while China is killing everyone with their monopolies on artificial diamonds. This chart goes back only a few years. In January,
I think at this point, like, nobody knows if you have a lab grown or natural diamond. And oh my God, I'm so fucking annoyed. Every time I lose like 300 viewers. Not gonna mauled. Everybody in America is about appearance, not reality. Nobody knows that your diamond is a real diamond. So you just go for the biggest diamond because that's all America's about. America is not about authenticity or realness. That's why every house is built out of fucking paper mache. Okay? So of course this was going to happen. In hindsight, it looks obvious. And it's only going to get worse from here.
2020, lab-grown diamonds were less than 10% of diamond sales in the U.S. Natural stones over 90%. By September of last year, they were almost at parity. The appeal is economic and obvious. In 2024, the size was 1.9 carats, 60% larger, but the price fell by 30% from 4 years previously. The shift is most notable among young people who want lower prices for diamonds and are indifferent whether they're natural stones or if they come from a lab.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how China's going to win. One, they're winning from the global sentiment turning against Israel for being a genocidal state. And two, they're winning because they're actually serving what people want, which is they want a bigger diamond, a bigger, shinier diamond. And the best way to get bang for your buck is to buy it from China.
There are big problems here for the Israeli.
There's the fact that nobody had to die or nobody had to be exploited in such an extreme degree in order to produce that lab-created diamond is a bonus. Not only do you have a bigger stone, not only is it cheaper, not only does it look better and more flawless, nobody had to suffer.
That probably won't go away. It is the younger generation of buyers that are turning away from natural diamonds in the first place. And it's also the younger generation that is far more likely to be persuaded by these campaigns to boycott diamond products from Israel. That generation understands, too, that this entire industry is based on little more than great marketing gimmicks. The campaign to convince the world that diamonds are precious stones may have been the most successful ever. From the very beginning of the South African diamond rush days, the guys who ran the cartels knew they had to limit the supply that hit markets to keep prices high. Later, they asked New York for help marketing the diamonds. And
I saw a vid saying we could create gold with fusion reactors as a byproduct if China is leading a fusion tech that could swash U.S. gold dominance. I don't want to get too often to science fiction, but basically, if you have fusion reactors, you could start basically synthetically producing various elements. You could start you could start moving around neutrons. You could start moving around electrons. You could start moving around protons. You could start fracking various elements, and even more. And what's even more crazy is you could start doing stuff like mining from the ocean. You know, when electricity gets, and when I say mining from the ocean, I don't mean the ocean floor. I mean from the water, from the ocean water. So like the cheaper electricity gets, the more it starts to become possible to do all sorts of weird sci-fi shit. It also opens up like near Earth mining. So like if we have the more fusion technology advances, the more you could do stuff like there are asteroids that are made out of fucking gold. There's asteroids that are made out of platinum. There's asteroids that are just sitting there, hunks of precious metals that are larger than all the mining we've ever done. You know, soon we could live in a world where platinum is as common as aluminum. These are just sci-fi shit, so it's not really like it's plausible, but not like something that exists. It's why Donald Trump and the reactionaries are so dumb. Like, they're legitimately stupid. And capitalism going out because they wanted to hug coal power is absolutely incredible. Like, we're gonna lose the struggle, and I say we, I mean America. America and the West are gonna lose the struggle because we're sticking with fucking fossil fuels. That's insane.
Diamonds Are Forever was born. In 1940, only one American woman in 10 got a diamond ring. 50 years later, it was 90%. Diamond sales in the United States rose 9,000% in that time. The Japanese believed it too. In 1967, just one woman in 20, and 15 years later was 60%. Another brilliant strategy was the idea to spend 2 months' salary on a ring. Men go into debt to buy inherently worthless stones. The natural diamond industry is dying, and fast. Eventually, the markets decide what the prices should be, and the markets say that the prices are going lower for diamonds used in jewelry, and all the advertising in the world can't stop it. The Israelis are no doubt making calls to get Trump to remove the tariffs on Israeli stones, which will just delay the inevitable. But there is another market for diamonds, for industrial applications. That market is booming, and it puts into sharp relief the moves by China in that artificial stones market. China just announced strong export bans on the technology and the equipment to make artificial stones, including the stones themselves. Those new regulations still allow their firms to supply American jewelry stores. But diamonds are becoming much more valuable as engineers develop more and more uses for them. And China's artificial diamond makers are incentivized, obviously, to discover new uses and new markets.
I think they're experimenting with a cutting saw right in this video.
Those diamonds aren't going anywhere except at factories down the street. So for all the diamonds used in modern manufacturing, in heavy industry, and especially in military industrial applications, and in all those products themselves, everything will be built in China. This is Fudan University in Shanghai. Be good.
And I think ultimately, I appreciate this video a lot because it shows China has kind of reached this exponential point, and you've kind of seen it on my channel, where I've always been kind of supportive of the development strategy of the of China, and now they've reached exponential uplift. They've gotten so good, their infrastructure development, their technology, their engineering, their international relationships have gotten so good, they're now going around the United States. The United States said it's time to decouple from China, and they expected China to fold and flop, and instead China said bet. And they went to the Latin America, they went to Africa, and they said, we're going to build up our relationships and we're going to help you develop your country. They went to Pakistan, one of America's closest allies, and they're solving the Pakistani energy grid crisis. Pakistan has had a substandard energy grid for decades. And now, because of the decentralized nature of solar panel technology, Pakistan's grid is advancing to a solid modern grid because regular people are smoothing out the demand curve by buying their own battery storage and their own solar panels so that they can ensure that they have a stable, reliable grid, which lowers the demand spikes on the grid itself, thereby making the infrastructure that exists in Pakistan more reliable and more stable. And this is going to provide right there, the United States of America is losing because of an economic relationship that we cannot copy, because we don't give a shit about other countries. We only care about controlling their politics so that American corporations can exploit them. That used to be a lefty take, but look what's happening in Venezuela. Trump is saying the quiet part out loud. We're going to invade Venezuela so we could steal their. Ladies and gentlemen, that kind of like Western imperialist chauvinism is not going to work in the 21st century. We are too connected, and there are now alternatives to American power. Donald Trump is just hastening our own demise. We need a new future where we treat China like a friend, like we treat them like we were for the last 30 years. We treat them with mutual respect. We treat them with maybe a level of suspicion. That's normal. Another powerful country. We shouldn't make ourselves vulnerable to them. But at the same time, we should not be trying to fight a war with them. That's insane. And it won't work. All right. Let's move on to something else. Just wanted to make you guys feel good knowing that Israel's economy is getting fucked again. That's awesome. And now we get on to my favorite story, chat. Trump world is panicking over Epstein. Epstein. How do you spell his name? Is it EIN? Epstein file leak. And they should be panicking because Trump is all over him. Trump is all over the Epstein files.
I do think it's interesting that even though they were supposed to release all of the files by this deadline and have violated the statute, they're seemingly like the files related to Trump, the fact that was released last night, this second batch, it being closer to Christmas, that's the kind of thing where like you dump bad news where people aren't paying attention as much. But that's
the theory, but I think
I agree. It's outdated.
It makes sense. Like
everyone's on their phone. You think people are putting their phones away on Christmas? I mean, come on.
A lot of this happened over the 4th of July because I was home then too, but that just means you're home and you can talk about it with your family.
Yeah. I think, I mean, perhaps it's a media PR strategy, but I don't necessarily know if it meets the social media
diminishing returns on that. Yeah,
I would agree. And so some of these documents were available on the DOJ website, and then around 8 p.m. it appears that they were taken down.
Well, I talk about the battleship later. Yes, it's very funny.
Washington Post got the full set of files and has some, really, it has damning things in it about Donald Trump. Some of these documents contain very interesting information about Epstein's death, as well as Trump's many flights with Epstein. And the prosecutors discovered that there were more flights than previously known. But let's read their reporting here. 3 days after releasing a large tranche of Jeffrey Epstein documents that contained few mentions of President Donald Trump, the Justice Department disclosed thousands more files that included wide-ranging references to the president. The documents show that a subpoena was sent to Mar-a-Lago in 2021 for records that pertain to the government's case against Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's accomplice in sex trafficking. They include notes from an assistant U.S. attorney in New York about the number of times Trump flew on Epstein's plane, including one flight that included just Trump, Epstein, and a 20-year-old woman, according to the notes. So that means that in 2021, the Trump received a subpoena because we know that Virginia Giuffre, who sadly passed away, has said that that's basically where she was kidnapped, trafficked, was at Mar-a-Lago. So we don't know if that's what that's exactly pertaining to, but it could be. The newly released documents also include several tips that were collected by the FBI about Trump's involvement with Epstein and parties at their properties in the early 2000s. The documents do not show whether any follow-up information took place, or investigations took place, rather, or whether any of the tips were corroborated.
Well, that's a big eye looking at the FBI, and I'd like to see like our folks like Kana, who's been very good on this. What are we going to do about this FBI?
Exactly.
That sat on this and could have stepped in the 90s?
Yeah, I think we know some of the theories about why that's not the case, both protecting the wealthy and powerful, but also his incredibly likely association with both U.S. and Israeli intelligence agencies.
Better clean it up.
In a statement...
I mean, do you think this is the only pedophile ring we have running? You think it's the only pedophile shit we have running is Jeffrey Epstein and that's it?
Tuesday morning, the Justice Department said some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump that it characterized as unfounded and false. It's right there, next paragraph from where we were reading.
It's really insane to me that there's never been a Democrat leader of the FBI. It's like the group like the FBI only really exists as an anti-left organization. And here we are, almost a century after it's really been founded, and there's never been a Democrat leading it. It's so clear that it is a front for kind of America's Gestapo. It's wild to me that you got a fascist podcaster before you got a Democrat. Not even a Democrat. That's crazy. Oh, wait. What do we got here? Bacon eggs part 2. This time with tater tots. Hash brown. Scrambled egg. Not the microwave steak. Oh, it wasn't microwaved. Thank you, Vito.
That's all right. Statement Tuesday morning there. But that's amazing. That's the Department of Justice, as I mentioned, acting as Trump's law firm. Perhaps they edited this. They must have edited it. But that was exactly what the release said. Let's go to this part. Epstein, a wealthy financier and convicted sex offender.
If you have anyone be FBI director, who would you have be FBI director? Me. If Kash Patel could be assistant deputy director of the FBI, so can I. Make me the whole director. I bring down all the. I'd be like, all right, can we get all the FBI agents that are working on monitoring American activist groups down to the firing range, please? We need to have a weapons qualification test. Okay, everybody, turn in your pistol. We're gonna have the gunsmith take a look at it, and then a tarp drops. The 82nd Airborne is there.
Died in 2019 while in federal custody awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges. His death was ruled a suicide. This part is, like, perhaps, in my view, the most incredible revelation. The files include correspondence among prison officials about Epstein's psychological assessments, with discussions about holding him in a special housing unit until about 2 weeks before he died. We have supporting memorandums from the responding officers who indicated they observed inmate Epstein with a makeshift noose around his neck, one of the emails stated.
I think I'm the only leftist with the Rice mentality when it comes to how to treat the intelligence services and secret police. Most Americans are not really they're not at the plane of where they need to be at.
At one point, the documents indicate prison officials planned to house Epstein in a cell.
Are there any branches of the military/intelligence services that are sympathetic? Sure. The rank and file troops were very supportive of Bernie Sanders. At the highest levels, there's going to be a lot less, but who gives a fuck? You can make generals.
Cesar Sayoc, a fanatical supporter of Trump's, who in 2019 was sentenced to 20 years in prison after he mailed explosive devices to prominent Democrats and media figures. Let's sit with that for a second.
Yeah, can we just meditate on that for a little bit? I mean, that's the ball game.
That's the ball game in my view. I mean, let alone what we know already, which is that the Wired's reporting on the metadata of the footage that was released that was supposedly of Epstein's cell, or was at least in like the vicinity of Epstein's cell, had multiple minutes taken out of it. They called it unedited footage, released it to the public. Wired did an analysis of it forensically and found that it actually really wasn't that hard to figure out, that they'd edited out multiple minutes in Adobe. And now we have the documents showing or indicating that prison officials wanted to house Epstein with a fanatical supporter of Donald Trump, who I'd imagine was quite involved in something like QAnon, where Jeffrey Epstein was a central figure, in the same cell as a guy that would be the most likely to take somebody out. But that might have been a little bit messy, right? Just to have a supporter do it.
Yeah, a little bit too on the nose. But let's just dwell on this Bureau of Prisons thing, because frankly, it looks to me like a den of thieves that needs to be raided. Because here is Todd Blanche on with Kristen Welker this weekend on Meet the Press, and this was just an interesting thing of me as somebody who likes to think we have a democracy and likes to have elected leaders in charge of like things like prisons, you know, caging of humanity. Here's what she was asked. This is a little exchange on this Bureau of Prisons that wanted to put Cesar Sayoc in with Epstein.
Couple more and we're almost out of time. I do want to ask you about Ghislaine Maxwell, who was, of course, convicted in 2021 for her role in helping Jeffrey Epstein traffic his victims. In July, you interviewed her in Florida, where she was serving a 20-year sentence in federal prison. Just a week later, Maxwell was moved to a more permissive prison camp in Texas. Why was she moved just days after you interviewed her, Mr. Blanche?
So that's a Bureau of Prison Security issue that I will not talk about.
Did you have anything to do with it? Did you have anything to do with it?
Let me finish. First of all, I am responsible for the Bureau of Prisons. So every decision that they make lands on my desk to the extent it needs to. But just let me talk about the security issue. At the time.
So I'm not going to talk about it. You don't get to know.
You don't get to know, apparently. And
we're going to put maybe a guy who is a fanatical, violent Trump supporter in with a guy that would it'd really benefit Trump if he died.
Completely.
Put him in the same cell. I mean, what are we doing here?
And the Wired story, I can't get over. It should be mentioned every time. It should be mentioned every time. It's quite clear for people that don't know, Trump was president when Epstein supposedly killed himself in his cell. That was, I think, one of the biggest revelations from this latest dump. Here's more. This is on the flight records with Trump. The new documents at times provide a window onto what federal prosecutors had been examining, as well as their awareness of ties that Epstein had with Trump. In January 2020, during Trump's first term, for example, an assistant U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York wrote an internal email about a review of flight records the day before as part of the government's case against Maxwell, who was convicted in 2021 of sex trafficking. For your situational awareness, wanted to let you know that the flight records we received yesterday reflect that Donald Trump traveled on Epstein's private jet many more times than previously had been reported or that we were aware, including during the period we would expect to charge in a Maxwell case, the email states. There were at least 8 flights, the prosecutor wrote, between 1993 and 1996 in which Trump was a passenger. On at least 4 of those flights, Maxwell was also present. In some cases, the prosecutor wrote, there were passengers who could be called as possible witness in a case against Maxwell. There you go. And so
I think I should pardon her.
The fact that the DOJ doesn't know how to properly redact a document is hilarious to me. This is Donald Trump we're talking about. The people that support Donald Trump are scum. You understand that? They're scum. They're lazy. They're stupid. They're arrogant. That's why they support him.
Yeah, right. I wish her well. I wish her well.
I'm actually perfectly placed to know that everything on those planes was totally fine.
And here's another horrific file. This is an image of a letter that Jeffrey Epstein wrote to convicted sex offender Larry Nassar, who, for people that do not know, was a longtime doctor for the United States gymnastics team.
By the way, people are claiming this is not real. People are claiming this is not real, that somebody just wrote it that didn't have like the inmate number. I would, you know, this part of the video maybe take with a grain of salt.
And at Michigan State, and he is serving a multi-decade sentence right now over child porn charges. No,
it wasn't child porn, was it? It was him raping the gymnasts, right? Like, didn't he assault them, basically? Did he do child porn as well?
Women, girls, like hundreds, at least over 100, say that he sexually abused them. This is a letter, apparently, that Epstein wrote to Larry Nassar. The text is in the tweet, if you don't mind, because I just can't read this pedo's cursive. But it was returned to the prison because he wrote it, or it was sent out around the same time that Epstein died. 2 files released this morning, Evan Hill, the Washington Post writes, by the DOJ show what appears to be a letter Epstein wrote to convicted sex offender Larry Nassar that was returned to sender after Epstein's death and found.
The FBI is the least competent of the 3-letter agencies, but it has the best propaganda. Like, people actually think the FBI are the good guys.
Found in the jail mailroom. The file shows the envelope front.
I blame the X-Files.
And the letter's contents. In the letter, Epstein writes, our president also shares our love of young, nubile girls.
I honestly, this doesn't look, I mean, this handwriting looks very feminine to me.
Young beauty walked by, he loved to grab, snatch, whereas we ended up snatching grub in the mess halls of the system. Life is unfair. Oh gosh, my heart bleeds for you, serial predators. I mean, the fact that he found common cause and referred to Trump as our president.
The handwriting is too clear, and and he doesn't misspell anything. That's why I don't think it's his. Also, it's the first piece of evidence that he was suicidal that I've seen. So when you add in all the stuff like it's postmarked after he died, there's no inmate number. I think it was postmarked in Northern Virginia, not at his prison in New York. I don't think it's real.
It's interesting. He said such a thing.
I mean, you look at Google Trump 2006, where there's like a video I saw of a young woman asking him a question, and he doesn't even listen to what she says. He invites her on stage, gives her a hug, and says, "You're hired."
Yeah.
And says, "That gets me into trouble. I'm like an alcoholic."
Here's another one from number 3 here. This is a transcript of an interview with a limousine driver, and he's speaking about an unnamed victim, it appears, or woman / girl, we don't know, but their name is redacted. Basically, this limousine driver says that they overheard Trump talking about Jeffrey while on the phone and made references to, quote, abusing some girl. The redacted name was unsure who he was talking to, nor who he was referencing. As Blank talked about his time meeting Donald Trump, Blank immediately, it's hard to say, Blank demeanor went stone cold. It seems like this is the limousine driver recounting their conversation with someone else. Demeanor went stone cold as Blank said, "He raped me." Someone else said, "What?" As Blank replied, "Donald J. Trump had raped her along with Jeffrey Epstein." And then later, this person that they're referring to, the limousine driver, says that she was found with her head blown off, and there was no way it was a suicide, according to the opinion of this person. There's more, but let's go to Trump last night, who was having a press conference about the most important issue in America right now, which is that Trump has commissioned a bunch of new warships for the Navy that he calls a Golden Fleet, and they will be named Trump-class battleships. You can't afford groceries and Christmas presents right now, but at least we have this, and of course the ballroom, which I know is keeping our nation together right now. In this press conference, he's asked about the Epstein files, and he just has a lot of empathy for the people who are being implicated.
I mean, we actually threw them out. But no, I don't like the pictures of Bill Clinton being shown. I don't like the pictures of other people being shown. I think it's a terrible thing. I think Bill Clinton's a big boy. He can handle it. But you probably have pictures being exposed of other people that innocently met Jeffrey Epstein years ago, many years ago, and they're, highly respected.
Can anybody with a MAGA who's visiting family that's MAGA explain to me how they square the circle of this? Like, the evidence is basically clear that Donald Trump was one of Jeffrey Epstein's best friends for a very long time. He flew on the Lolita Express, even with young girls and Ghislaine Maxwell. He would call to talk about sex with Jeffrey Epstein. Trump has been doing creepy shit to little girls for years. He said he wanted to sleep with his daughter. Like, how do they square this circle? This guy is a pedophile, incestuous Epstein friend. Fake news and lies by the Democrats, and they hint that they have been an FBI informant. Fake news. Fake news. Chat, we are nearing a point. I can't speak. I can't speak or I'll get in trouble. I can't speak or I'll get in trouble. I can't speak.
Bankers and lawyers and others. And they'll end up, because of guys like Massey, who's a real lowlife, whose polls are down to about 9%, by the way, in the great state of Kentucky.
That is not true.
Normal thing to be talking about polling, even if that was true.
Right.
In the context of what you're implicated in, sir.
Yep.
Look at Kentucky. Kentucky is such a...
No, keep going.
Basically, what Trump is saying here is like, you try to expose me that I'm a pedophile and I'll ruin your polling?
Going, actually. There's more.
Great place, but I don't know. They've got a couple of people on there that are very strange in terms of leadership. But Massey's a loser, and he likes it, and that he works with the Democrats. He's just being used by the Democrats, because what this whole thing is with Epstein is a way of trying to deflect from the tremendous success that the Republican Party has. Like, for instance, today we're building the biggest ships in the world, most powerful ships in the world, and they're asking me questions about Jeffrey Epstein. I thought that was finished. I believe they gave over 100,000 pages of documents, and there's tremendous backlash. It's an interesting question because
how are you
a
calling
lot of
this
people...
fake news, guys? He's so guilty. It's coming out of his pores. What happened to all the MAGA moms crying about the evil pedos teaching their kids? They like pedophiles. They were lying. I think the most important thing I'm going to say something. No one else is going to say this. We need more polarization, not less. We need more polarization, not less. Everybody should be forced to pick a side. And by the way, if you say to me, by forcing me to pick a side, I pick Trump's side, good. I want everyone to pick a side. You're either with the pedophiles and the billionaires and the warmongers, or you're with regular human beings. You're either with the Zionists or you're against the. We need more polarization. And I don't give a shit who you are. You could be a relative of mine. You stand with this pedophile, you're my fucking enemy. And it's time for you to be crushed. Not nicely pandered to, not convinced. Raping kids is not your line. You're my enemy, and you're the enemy of humanity, and we need to settle this. I don't want to hear another goddamn word about playing nice with these people. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Nicki Minaj lost 10 million followers on Instagram, and she deleted her account. This is the fucking result. We need more polarization, not less. And anybody tell you, I want us to become, why can't we come together? We can't come together because they're defending pedophiles. They're defending the fucking narco traffickers, not Venezuelan fishermen, but the bankers who launder the cartel's money. The CIA agents that bring it into our community. The CIA agents that grow the fucking heroin. None of this is conspiracy. Everything I just said is acknowledged fact. Anybody telling you to play nice with the Republican is fucking delusional, or they're already a Republican. They're trying to trip you up. 60% of people disapprove of Donald Trump. In a democracy, you need 50% plus one. We've got an extra 10% to play around with. You're either with this fucking pedophile or you're against him. And these scum are trying to censor people for protesting Israel's genocide. They're trying to censor people and remove our free speech. And they're harassing green card holders. You're either with us or you're with the pedophiles. And I'm sorry that it's so extreme and Manichean. I don't want it to be this way, but it is this way. We tried being mamby-pamby. We tried to be gentle. We tried to compromise. We tried to work across the aisle. 8 years of Obama, 4 years of Biden. All I heard was work across the aisle, this, bipartisan, that. I'm going to put a Republican on my cabinet. That was Kamala Harris's promise. Can we try fighting these people for once? Can we try telling them you're in the minority? It's absolutely outrageous that this is where we're at.
People are very angry that pictures are being released of other people that really had nothing to do with Epstein, but they're in a picture with him because he was at a party, and you ruin the reputation of somebody. So a lot of people are very angry that this continues. A lot of Republicans are angry because of the fact that it's just used to deflect against a tremendous success. Look, we have 8.
I just think it's interesting when he talks about who's angry here. A lot of Republicans are angry. Well, not the base. You might be referring to the Republican lawmakers who that very Thomas Massey referenced their donors recently and has basically said that that is who is being protected here. Political donors and wealthy, connected people who have associations with Jeffrey Epstein that don't want this to come out. And Trump is expressing sympathy, as he does, with the wealthy and the powerful, because that's literally all he's known since he came out of the womb with, a golden spoon in his mouth. And he is the oligarch identifier. That is who he is. He does not care about regular people. And it's the greatest fraud that he's perpetrated that he has convinced certain people that he does.
Batya Unger Sargon acting like he's a working class tribune. He's like literally.
By the way, chat, I just want you to understand something, chat. I want you to understand this. I don't give a fuck about convincing everyone. I care about convincing enough. 15% of people, think the fucking planet is an illusion or some shit. Who gives a? Or they believe in angels. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? I don't care what you think. Okay, if you are some Donald Trump supporter at this point, I don't give a fuck about convincing you. Give a fuck beating you. And the more people get comfortable with the idea of politics, which is politics is war. And we do these elections because we're not fighting a war. Stop trying to hire the surrender faction of the Democratic Party. Can we get warriors who want to fight on behalf of the working class?
Saying it's the powerful bankers and lawyers.
Highly respected people like bankers.
Think of the reputations of the bankers and the lawyers that just happened. They had nothing to do with him except they're in pictures with him at parties.
Also, and presidents like me. I just thought it was amazing that he expressed sympathy for Bill Clinton because they're in the same boat. Do you remember a few months ago when Hillary Clinton was praising Donald Trump? It might have been on Foreign Policy or something to that effect. And I remember thinking at the time with this Epstein thing bubbling, I wonder if there are, like, she is making efforts despite, like,
little detente.
Right. I mean, God, the way that you see powerful people kowtow to Trump when they can when they need something from him. I mean, the infamous one is Ted Cruz after Trump called his wife ugly and did a side-by-side post of her and Melania and said his dad killed JFK. Just a few months later, he was Mr. Cuckboy doing phone.
Remember when Ezra Klein said Epstein's private life was entirely separate from his public life? Remember when ContraPoints tried to argue Epstein was a Mossad agent blackmailing elites, but was instead just a wealthy pervert? Yes, because they're both Israeli agents. Ezra Klein and ContraPoints are both Israeli agents. She said the Palestinian cause was a lost cause. I think legitimately, if you like ContraPoints at this point or you defend them in any way, you are fucking scum. I used to be I used to like some of their videos. I used to think they had some good takes, but now, I mean, the Palestinian genocide is the easiest fucking event in our history to know who the pieces of shit are. It's not a surprise. It's not a excuse me, chat. It's not a surprise anymore. It's not hard to discern who's a good person and who's a bad person. They tell you if they support Israel, they are horrible piece of evil shit, and you can never trust them on anything. I mean, it's a gift, honestly. It's a gift in our politics that we have something like that we can look to and we could point at and say that anybody who supports Israel is a fucking piece of shit. It's a gift. We've never had clarity like this. Say thank you. And while you're saying thank you, say thank you to Open Presents for the 100 gifted subs. Chat, it is Christmas Eve in the committee household and the Frumpa household. If you appreciate that I'm out here ranting like an unhinged maniac. Oh my God, a golden Kappa hype train. We have 20 seconds to get a golden Kappa hype train going. If you enjoy this content, please consider supporting it by subscribing. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Christmas Eve. We have a golden Kappa hype train. We are nearing the end of the year, chat. If you enjoyed this content this year, if you enjoyed the fact that Mike was motherfucking right and continues to be right, show some of your Christmas cheer, your Kwanzaa. What rhymes with Kwanzaa? Your Kwanzaa, that's a toughie. Your Kwanzaa bonanza, extravaganza, your Kwanzaa extravaganza. We did it. I'll take it. By supporting the stream, by gifting subscriptions right now, chat, you have the opportunity. If you sub, resub, prime sub, gift a sub, or at least 200 bits right now, you have the opportunity to get the golden Kappa hype trade unlocked site-wide. Remember, chat, there's a lot of people here working paycheck to paycheck, parents of young children, college students, people on a fixed income, people who are struggling to make ends meet. If you gift them a sub, that's a nice little Christmas surprise and treat. It gives them access to ad-free viewing, Twitch Rewind, the emotes. It promotes me the algorithm. It's just a nice thing to do. Tana Tuva, thank you. The other thing, chat, is if we complete level 20 on this hype train, we will do a gaming stream. I will pledge you at least 1 hour of gaming content if we complete level 20 this week. If we complete level 20, we will do gaming content this fucking. He's already gonna do it. Mike, you're gonna do it anyways. Shh. Shut up! Shut up, chatters! We're almost there. Stop snitching. Didn't you already promise a gaming stream this week? Yeah, I probably already did. Ham and Fist gave 100 subs! Let's fucking go! Chat, I want to show you something. I have been gaming. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. I've been gaming with my pal Nesua over on the Wii, and oh my lord in heaven, chat. Let me show you this sequence. I want to show you the level of gaming. This is honest to God, and Nesua kind of carried. Okay, hold on.
Agrid over here.
It's another team, I think. Nesua did this like... He did this like flank. I'm going to see if I can find it for you guys, because it was really fun. We were playing Arc Raiders. Oh, here he goes. God, got him. You see me? I fucked the guy up.
He's cracked. Very low. Being pushed.
I'm super cracked.
I'm coming back. Come back.
Down.
Come back again.
I'm down. One down.
On the right. Right.
By the way, he was completely wrong. It was on the left. His call was wrong. I just want to say, the call is completely wrong. The guy was on the left, not the right. So I was looking to the left, which got me down, I was looking to the right, which is fine. Oh. Right here. But Ness did convert. He did convert. Mike, I got you a Callisto's blueprint. I got a Blobcat blueprint. What if I told you I have one already?
You freaking pussies.
LOL. All right, so I wanted to show you that, but that's not the game. You know, we loot these guys, whatever. So we go down, check out this sequence, chat. This is a quest, actually. Like the explosive line.
Yeah, I'll look it up after this.
I just got it randomly as a drop.
It is? It's a quest? That's disgusting.
We were talking about the most overpowered item in the game, the trigger nade.
They give it to everybody.
They're like, this is overpowered. Everybody have it.
Everybody, it's fine if everyone has it.
Yeah, I threw my trigger nade in a really bad place.
Yeah, I was like, not that room.
Well, I switched angles to try to like flank, but they were both like they were deeper in than I thought.
I'm just glad I could like flank there.
Move Sukum, thank you. Okay, this is.
I couldn't see though. It was so fucking dark.
They both started looking, and then I downed the one guy.
Yeah, they started freaking out.
They started freaking out because they had.
Mike,
to look
did
at
I do the
doors.
reset?
Yes, of course I did.
I'm guessing.
Oh, wait, people coming.
Where?
The other side. My side. Right there.
I think we back off.
I can't. I'm caught out.
Oh god, bro.
Oh, fuck. Here, let me go by you. You cover my back. Never mind.
That one. On me. One hit. Or two hits. Nice. He's gonna go for the finish him. Just finish him. You're gonna go. Get a defib.
I do. I had to like go through my inventory. You see GG's, you're like, oh. So we're like, oh, okay, well that's that, right? I killed one.
Sneaky boy.
Did you find him? That's pretty good. You know, let's heal up.
Good.
Oh, people are coming again. More people are coming.
Yep.
Want to get out of here?
I'm kind of
This is Arc Raiders, chat. They got me. Right here. God, dude. What a clutch from Ness there. And if you want to know how Ness and I play the game, if you're like, oh, Mike, how do you guys play Arc Raiders? Look at our inventory. Augment. Gun, augment. If you're wondering what's happening, chat, basically every augment you see is something that you could only get from killing other people. You think you're getting out?
Oh, you thought.
Oh, the third party. Oh, man. So you're one of those guys, huh? What? In one of the combats did Ness and I do anything wrong? Did we trick people? These motherfuckers charged us. They motherfucking charged us.
I fucking loot.
Can we get some loot? My shield is broken.
You're gonna have to probably pick up another one.
Yeah. Hopefully they have one.
Now we get fucking fifth partied.
Anyway, the enjoyable Arc Raiders content will continue. What level are you now after the expedition? We played last night for 4 hours. I think we got to like level 20. We got to like level 20. Mike, do this in your Steam. Show us the stats. No, absolutely not. I'm not showing you my Steam replay. Trump has been to his golf club every day since Saturday, but hasn't golfed a single time. I think his health may actually be declining. Anyway, chat, due to the fact that you guys have reached a level 22 hype train, Merry Christmas. We will be doing a gaming stream this week on the Central Committee stream as a bonus. There will be not a whole stream of it. Bonus content. Thoughts on the kettle macro. My thoughts on the kettle macro are not going to surprise you if you're intelligent. The fault of the kettle macro is the game developers. They created a semi-automatic gun that promotes people spam clicking. People have had turbo buttons on controllers and mice for literally 30 years. If you create an uncapped semi-automatic weapon, people are going to use artificial aids to fire it faster. The person to get mad at is not the person who uses the macro or the mouse wheel or right and left click for spamming or whatever the fuck they do. The person to blame is the developers. Don't create a semi-automatic gun with an uncapped fire rate. Create the game correctly. This is a dev problem, and it's not cheating. I'm sorry, the macro is not cheating. That's my take. Cheating is when you have information other players do not have because of an external program, or you have some sort of assistance in your aim. Now, in my opinion, aim assist is fucking garbage. I think there should be no aim assist, but the fix for that is to not have uncapped semi-automatic weapons. What are you doing? That is my take. Golden Kappa hype trade level 22. Thank you, chat. We ended at 6,869. How did you guys do it? How did you guys do it? Right on the 69. Now, if somebody could drop 100 bomb, we'll be at 69. Just saying. If somebody dropped a clean 100 bomb, we'd be at 69. Just a clean 100 bomb. All right, let's keep going.
Banking for Donald Trump. Yeah. To have that be full.
This me? What's this? So I gave Vio a bunch of my blueprints before I reset because Vio didn't had just started playing, so she didn't reset. And then she sent me this TikTok.
Action the second. He says, "All right, bro, I did my expedition. Can you give me all my blueprints back?"
If I could save time in a bottle.
My genuine reaction the second. He says, "All right, bro, I did my expedition. Can you give me all my blueprints back?"
If I could save time.
Chat, I gave her a Torrente blueprint, a Bobcat blueprint, a Venator blueprint. I want you to understand, if you play Arc Raiders, I want you to understand the blueprints that Vio was given. And then she sent me this. Can I at least get the Bobcat back? Please, Vio, please.
Circle with the Clintons after everything he said about Hillary Clinton, and how vicious that campaign was.
For a macro. I didn't say I used it. I've been playing first-person shooters since Marathon, okay, and Doom. I don't know if you know what those games are. Actually, I've been playing first-person shooters since a game called Pathways into Darkness, which was Bungie's first video game. But it's fine. And in all that time, whenever a dumb fucking developer created an uncapped semi-automatic gun, people have been binding it to mouse wheel. They have been creating macros. It is the developer's fault in 2026. That's my point. This is called leftist analysis of video gaming. I'm sorry you're a liberal and you want to blame people for being immoral for using shit that we all know they're going to use. Stop being a liberal in your video game takes and start becoming a leftist in your video game takes. The developers have the power to fix this. Tell them to fix it instead of whining like a bitch.
Felt at the time. Well, look at this. Now he's praising Bill Clinton, or at the very least saying he doesn't feel good about seeing these images out there because he sees himself in him. Like, he's genuinely empathizing for maybe the only time in his life.
They got caught for literally the same thing.
Because they were in the same boat of being like elite associates of Jeffrey Epstein. Like, God, I really feel bad for him.
Yeah, it's like we had nothing to do with it.
It's funny if you Google this issue, macros and semis, you'll get discussions going back a decade plus. I used to play a video game where there was a semi-automatic pistol and I bound plus fire to my mouse wheel. And I would just scroll my mouse wheel down and it would delete people. And it was like, am I a dick for doing that? I'm pushing the button. I'm scrolling the wheel. They let me bind. You used to be able to bind your mouse wheel. They used to have the dual pistols, the akimbo pistols, and you would bind that to your mouse wheel and they'd be like, bah, 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 bah.
Why does Jeffrey keep pictures of you all like splashed all over his desk?
Yes. I mean, and that you resaw, I'm sure, in the release of the files, that blue dress painting that you talk about all the time. For people that don't know, Jeffrey Epstein had an image of Bill Clinton in the blue dress, the infamous one from the Monica Lewinsky scandal, which, by the way, Bill Clinton completely was a horrific. The Clintons were horrific to Lewinsky.
Bill Clinton was always a liability as regards to his libido.
And you can read some of what Ryan Grimm has reported, that it appears that Israeli intelligence knew about Lewinsky prior to it coming out. You wonder
who maybe told them. Was it maybe a close associate of Bill Clinton, Jeffrey Epstein, who of course Bill Clinton would talk about? Do you think they would? Oh yeah, I'm not going to mention I'm screwing my intern to the guy that I hang out with and like swim around underground
or
pools
mention
with,
it, or
redacted.
Or we know that Israel spies on the United States.
But I'm saying like that could have been the spy, Epstein himself.
Exactly.
Right.
True.
And he's and also he's given up the game as regards to their little strategy with like the get all the pictures out there of the celebrities from the 90s.
Yeah.
He's just acknowledging that, like, well, you get all these people with innocence. So what he's saying is that my people decided to look for all these different pictures of people that happened to be there, and put those up front. To make sure that people get that message, like, oh, this is just people with Epstein's things. No, there is evidence of a vast criminal network here.
100%.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours.
Christopher Hitchens hated Clinton because he believed him when they said they were both at Oxford. Clinton raped one of Hitchens' friends. Really? BB blackmailed Clinton with Lewinsky tapes?
So in a scandal that has been largely lost to contemporary memory, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was alleged to have blackmailed then-President Bill Clinton by revealing to him that Israel had collected tapes of phone sex calls between the 42nd president and White House intern Monica Lewinsky. The story is worth revisiting amid allegations that Jeffrey Epstein was involved in a long-running Israeli blackmail operation of his own. So Clinton met with Netanyahu in the Oval Office in February 1997. Subsequently, according to testimony Lewinsky gave to the special counsel's office, Clinton's secretary Betty Curry reached out to Lewinsky to invite her to an Oval Office meeting, telling her Clinton, quote, had something important to tell her, unquote. It would turn out to be their final sexual encounter. But Clinton also used the opportunity to tell her that a, quote, foreign embassy had tapped his phone and recorded their conversation, Lewinsky said. Clinton did not specify which embassy, though the meeting with Lewinsky came the month after his meeting with Netanyahu. The special prosecutor's report was far more concerned with Lewinsky's claim of the sexual encounter that day because it contradicted Clinton's claim that they had had only one encounter that year than they were with the fact that a foreign government was spying on the president and letting him know about it. The prosecutor was also interested in Clinton's response, namely that he proposed cover stories. These are cover stories that the two could employ if they were confronted with the tapes.
Aide is running for Senate, buddy. You mean AOC? Ro Khanna for presidency? Get in line and stop talking that shit about our candidate? Ro Khanna is not going to be the left's candidate. That's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. That has to be like a Destiny troll, because the only people that are that stupid have to be some sort of Destiny troll. Also, it's so funny that what happened to that Destiny guy? I guess they went away, huh? Epstein struggling, huh? Ryan Grimm, Jeremy Scahill, folks over at Dropsite have been doing some incredible reporting, keeping real journalism alive. Yes, I know. I've been supporting Dropsite since literally day one. Ryan Grimm has been on this stream multiple times.
Clinton suggested the pair say they knew they were under surveillance and the phone sex was a, quote, put on for whoever was listening. That's an awfully flimsy idea, but look, he was guilty. The man did not have much to work with. Now, in April, Netanyahu and Clinton met again for a, quote, private visit. On a Saturday then, in May 1997, Clinton again had Curry invite Lewinsky to the White House. During that visit, he broke up with her, Lewinsky testified. The next fall, so this is fall of 1998, Clinton hosted Netanyahu and Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat for a summit at Wye River, Maryland. Toward the end of the summit, at 7 a.m. after...
It's going to be Newsom versus Harris versus Buttigieg versus AOC versus probably Cory Booker again. Like, it's going to be a huge... They're not going to have Newsom versus AOC. There's going to be like 7 or 8, if not more, ambitious people that are trying to use running for president to raise their profile. It's not going to just be Newsom versus AOC. And Gavin Newsom, I don't know if you know... God, we got a lot of drop frames today. Gavin Newsom is very bad at this. Just because some of his social media managers managed to post some anti-Trump slop doesn't mean he's actually good at this. You'll see. You'll see. Pretty fucking slimy.
A long night of final negotiations and handshakes, Netanyahu approached Clinton privately.
Biden was very bad at campaigning too. How did that work out? They were able to consolidate. And Bernie Sanders had his vote split by Elizabeth Warren. There isn't somebody who's as compelling on the left to compete with AOC. It's already not a thing.
To demand the release of...
Newsom is a liberal. That's why Atrioc is a fan. Atrioc, I watched a lot of Atrioc stuff, and I got to be honest, he doesn't really say much. I was going to do like some more Atrioc takedowns, and maybe I will, but he doesn't really say much. He does this kind of like pog in the corner shit. He's a market enjoyer and meritocracy enjoyer. If he's a meritocracy enjoyer, he should be a big fan of China. If there's any country in the world that is the most meritocratic, it's literally the CCP. Joining the Communist Party of China is like getting hired at an elite university. The entire Politburo are engineering PhDs. Meritocracy and Donald Trump is your president.
Convicted Israeli spy Jonathan.
You might be able to teach him stuff. He's not. Here's what you need to know about Atrioc. Atrioc doesn't care about what's true. He's making a market triangulation. He is doing the same thing that Destiny did. He sees there's Asmongold on the right, there's Hassan on the left, and so he's triangulating himself as a centrist Democrat. He doesn't believe in anything. He's not interested in having his mind changed on anything unless it is the algorithm / market makes him do it. I could not make an argument to Atrioc and have him change his mind against his own financial interest. He's paid to be a Democratic Party shill. He believes in fucking nothing. And you could tell because he doesn't actually say what he believes or make hardcore points. And he floats along the algorithm by saying stuff like, I support Gavin Newsom and I support Zohran Mamdani. That is a contradiction. It's a contradiction. But he's surfing on the slop, and he fucking loves slop. We know he loves that AI slop.
Pollard, long a cause célèbre of the Israeli far right. That's according to reporting at the time from the New York Times. Now, Netanyahu brought up the sex tapes in the context of the Pollard demand, according to subsequent reporting by Washington Examiner editor Daniel Harper in his book, Clinton, Inc., The Audacious Rebuilding of a Political Machine. He writes, quote, not wanting to directly threaten the powerful American president, a crucial Israeli ally, Clinton was told that the Israeli government had thrown the tapes away, but the very mention of them was enough to constitute a form of blackmail, Halpern reported. The talks almost broke down as CIA chief George Tenet told Clinton he would resign on the spot if Clinton agreed to the terms. So instead, Clinton agreed to, quote, review Pollard's case. He did not release him. Pollard was eventually freed in 2015 under the Obama administration. Now, on the last day of his first term, Trump pardoned Pollard's handler. Back in Israel, Pollard is now an outspoken supporter of extremist National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir, and has called for the full ethnic cleansing of Gaza. I don't know, Emily, what do you think? What did Netanyahu tell Bill Clinton?
I'm so curious.
Was there another foreign embassy that this could be?
So this is very casually in the book of Daniel Halper, right? Mm-hmm. Who's, I mean, you probably...
Tell us about him as a reporter.
Well, I was even going to ask you, I mean, he's sort of a right-of-center Bush era. I mean, I don't want to get this wrong, but that's my
he was doing a lot of these Clinton Inc. style. Yeah.
Right. And then was covering foreign policy like during that time period. I remember Daniel Halper a lot from the kind of blogging years, if that makes sense, like the Bush era blogging years. But this is very casually in the book.
And there was another book, I think it was called Gideon Spies in '98, published in the UK, that reported the same thing.
Yeah.
That it was that Netanyahu and that it was Israel that had gotten these tapes, because they basically what happened, back then it was probably maybe even easier than it is now. A lot of people were learning about this affair.
Yeah.
Like it was everywhere. Before it was reported by Drudge and then by Newsweek, it was the talk of like elite Washington. That's how, like, Linda Tripp was telling agents and book publishers.
Lucianne Goldberg.
Yeah, Jonah Goldberg's mom.
Yep, exactly.
And she's telling people, and like, actually, what's his name? George Conway, right? He was, who's now the Resistance Democrat guy, Kellyanne Conway's ex-husband, and Ann Coulter, and like this whole right-wing world.
Brett Kavanaugh was working with Ken Starr. George Conway was in that group. Coulter was defending Paula Jones.
Right.
She was on the Paula Jones
and the
defense.
Paula Jones lawyers like learned about Monica way early. And so in other words, a lot of people in Washington knew about the Monica affair while it was still ongoing. So if you were a foreign embassy that learned this, then it would not have been hard for Israel and others, not just them, to learn about it. It would then not be hard for you to go and tap Monica Lewinsky's phone. You don't even have to tap the White House at that point.
Right.
You just get Monica's phone line.
Which is way easier, of course.
Right. And then you're going to pick up all of these calls that continued to happen. How do you like Bill Clinton's cover story? We knew that we were being surveilled by a foreign government, and so we decided do fake sex tapes with an intern.
I mean, I was going to say, I think actually that may, so first of all, I think it gives it more credibility that it's casually in the book. And I think Daniel Halper is like sort of broadly pretty pro-Israel. I have to go back and look, but I think that's like sort of baked into a lot of the coverage that Daniel Halper has done. But I think the fact that this is sort of casually just inserted into the narrative of the book lends credibility to it, and people aren't challenging it. It's the same thing with the Alex Acosta quote that Vicky Ward put in her story that like barely raised an eyebrow at the time. And Acosta, there weren't all other people from those meetings in the Senate coming out and saying this never happened.
Right.
So anyway, all that's like a bit of a tangent, but it also makes you look differently on the way Clinton vociferously denied the affair, because it's possible that they were really serious about this defense for foreign policy reasons. Like that they had motives beyond just protecting Clinton. That they were like also dealing with the potential foreign policy consequences of this entire thing being known to an ally. It was crazy.
Although by fall of '98, when the Wye River thing is happening, it's Eastern Shore. I remember when that was happening, Eastern Shore of Maryland. The public knew about all of this, so like the value of that blackmail by then much diminished by the fact that it was everywhere already. And then you had the midterms where Democrats overperformed despite all of this stuff, right? Because when did it all break that he admitted it? I'm trying to remember exactly when.
Oh man, that's a good question. That timeline is important in this context, but. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing, this is such
August. So he admitted in the grand jury testimony in August 1998.
But I don't think we knew that till 99, did we?
No, but then he knew it was going to leak, so they put it out immediately.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean.
So by the time that Netanyahu at Wye River is allegedly like blackmailing him with the tapes.
Jesus, ladder.
And telling him that.
Jesus.
It's an interesting phrasing that he's alleged to have used, which is those tapes I mentioned, like, don't worry, we destroyed them.
This is so crazy.
It's like, oh, sure you did. But
didn't realize Mike would play this whole video. More meant the beginning of it. Oh, it's okay. It's fun. It's fun to go back and talk about these topics because a lot of people here were too young to know about the Bill Clinton Lewinsky stuff. Long story short, Bill Clinton had a 21-year-old intern that he used to fuck in the Oval Office. And then he got caught because she was best friends with like far right people, and they like recorded her conversation. Like, this is how incompetent Bill Clinton is.
It's a way of, you know, bringing him up.
He took advantage of Monica. No fucking shit! Grooming a 21-year-old White House intern and fucking her in the White House. That's crazy.
But, you know, of course I'm not threatening you. This is crazy.
Right.
I would never do such a thing.
Well, it's kind of like, it's actually kind of like the Epstein.
And then, chat, he wasn't impeached for adultery. He was impeached because he was also being sued for sexual harassment. What was her name? Paula Jones. He was being sued for sexual harassment for when he was governor of Arkansas. He had like an Arkansas state trooper bring this woman, Paula Jones, to his fucking hotel room, and she was suing him for sexual harassment. And then under oath, they found out that he was fucking Monica Lewinsky, so they asked him about it, and he fucking lied under oath about how he hadn't had any sexual relations with Monica Lewinsky. That was a press conference. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. There's a press conference where he lied about it. He was being impeached for fucking obstruction of justice and perjury.
Bill Gates email.
This is Atriarch. I read this book, so you don't have to. Okay, what book did he read? You haven't heard this economist, literally John Maynard Keynes, arguably the most famous economist ever. That would be Marx, but Keynes is definitely up there. Jesus Christ. Okay, let's finish this video, and then we'll watch that Atriarch clip.
It was about the woman that Bill Gates had an affair with, like the professional poker player. I think she's a professional poker player that Bill Gates had an affair with. And Epstein basically sent Bill Gates an email being like, hey, I think he asked for like some type of payment related to the, not for like any sexual stuff, but like just a scholarship, something like that, just to let Bill Gates know he knew about this woman with whom he had an affair.
Yes, exactly.
You can't, and you know, is it a smoking gun? No, because it's not, hey, I'm blackmailing you. I know you had an affair. Give me money for this. Or it was like he had some charitable thing. He wanted money, quote unquote charitable thing. He wanted Bill Gates to give money to. And so he's not saying blackmail, this is blackmail unless you give me this money. He's just saying, hey, I know.
Yeah, I know about this thing.
Many such cases.
Yeah.
Many such cases.
Yeah. The part about the CIA is interesting too. Like, because this was a bipartisan thing at the time. The CIA, and whether you're Republican or Democrat, were, and it was, I think it was under Reagan that they caught Pollard, actually, Jonathan Pollard, this spy. They were absolutely committed to keeping him behind bars and not releasing him. And it was when Obama let him out in 2015, it was it's more like parole, like he served like 30 years or whatever. He served like an enormous amount of the sentence. But yeah, he's still very active in politics. He's even like floated that he's going to run for Knesset.
Critique us on for collaborating with Rokonda, not platforming. Okay, guys, can we stop? I'm gonna put a kibosh on all future platforming arguments. Okay, you don't understand them. You're not allowed to use that argument anymore in my chat. You're not allowed. You don't understand what the argument even is. You don't even you're just saying words that you half understand. You're not allowed to make those arguments anymore. You're going to get yourself a 10-minute timeout if you make a platforming argument. Okay? You're going to catch yourself because you don't know what it is. You cannot platform a congressman. They are in power. Okay? That's just, you can't platform Donald Trump. He is the president of the United States of America. Okay? The only time platforming conversations ever matter is when you're talking about somebody who doesn't have a platform of their own and you're giving them your platform. If somebody has a larger platform than you, you're not platforming them. They are platforming you. Are you guys good? Are you done? Okay, does it make sense now? The second thing I want to say is Hassan and I are going to talk to people that are to our right because that's 99.9% of America. Okay? I am to the left of my chat. Because you don't know what you're talking about, most of you. That's not an insult. That's just reality. How could you possibly know as much as me about leftist shit? I've been studying this stuff for decades. I hope you don't. And if you do, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Do you have any more book recommendations? I'm currently rereading. I just started the Antonio Gramsci Reader. I just cracked into it. I'm just restarting it. So unless you guys are reading your Gramsci for fun, let me know. Other than that, you probably don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Please calm down. And so Ro Khanna is somebody who is allied with us on a number of projects that we like, but he's not one of us. However, he's better than 90% of politicians. So if he wants to come and lend fucking credibility to us and not punch left, which is a fucking miracle, we'll take it. You understand that Ro Khanna going on Hassan's stream helps Hassan. You understand that, right? Because it means that he is more relevant. It means that he's worth listening to. If Congress people are going to Hassan to talk to him, that means that our political views are more relevant. And as long as we're not moving our positions toward the politician, we're not doing anything bad. What we're doing is we're extracting mainstream credibility. See, the problem is you don't understand where the most people are. You can only see where you are. This is the main problem with a lot of the leftist critiques I see online. You're so up your own ass that you think everyone already agrees with you, or that everybody who doesn't already agree with you could be discarded. That's incorrect. We have a lot of people that would be open to our ideas that we have to convince. That is our job right now. If you're off on your own fucking delusions that 90% of Americans are familiar with class struggle, you're wrong. Okay? And if you don't agree with my project of increasing the number of people that are left wing, and you think it's really about forming the fucking vanguard of 20 people, go do it. It's like crazy I have to have these explanations because you all think you're fucking like, you think you're the popularizers or something. You're not. You're not. Why do you think you know about this shit? It's crazy. I'm sorry I'm not trying to crash out on them. I'm just like, what are you doing with your time? You don't know what you're talking about. Calm down. Crazy. Sorry, Mike, you have to pass the daily test of socialism. It's not a test of socialism purity. It's some random narcissist idea that they're the fucking arbiter of socialism. You're not. And neither is your Splinter Discord. Shut the fuck up. It's like, it's just so annoying that people get into these debates. You're wasting your time and you're wasting my time and you're wasting our time.
Or the Ben Gvir banner, basically.
What the, like, it's just that it is so crazy how many, like, you can play 6 Degrees of Monica Lewinsky with politics at any given moment, or 6 Degrees of like Clinton Lewinsky scandal at any given moment. I mean, it's just, it still affects so many different things in so many ways.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild.
Yeah, really
Crazy
central
stuff,
moment. Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Yes, indeed. All right. We're going to talk to Carolyn Feinstein.
That's right.
Who was the wife of the guy who made the ice blocker. She worked for the...
Okay. I want to show you something, Chad. This is what I'm trying to get for you. In 2 days, China opened 3 new high-speed rail lines totaling 1,082 kilometers. The last 2 days. This is the future I want for America. It's the Chinese present. Meanwhile, the distance between Los Angeles and California, 616 kilometers. In 2 days, China opened 1,082 kilometers of new track. Give me a fucking break. If the Chinese were really smart, they'd have trains running on top and bottom of the rails. No, the gadget bonds, the hanging trains are a lot less. They're a lot more expensive and they run slower. I get what you're saying, but no. All right, chat. Atrioc, genius
Keynes
Atrioc.
or Marx have the better theory. I started reading some Marx. Listen, I'm not a fan, but I don't want to critique it without having finished my reading. You know, give me some time. I would love to do a clip on why I personally am skeptical of Karl Marx and Vladimir Lenin specifically. Specifically, their 2 ideas and how they...
Their 2 ideas.
...worked out in practice make me skeptical. Especially with knowing what we know about how humans respond to these incentives. But, you know what I'm trying to...
What the... He's trying to say that humans respond to incentives, so therefore Marx is refuted.
Get across.
I haven't read Marx, by the way, is what he's saying.
I feel like when people, you know, it's so wild how the internet's gotten that if I criticize Karl Marx, well, I must want poor people to starve.
You didn't read it. You don't know what the fuck he's talking about. That's the thing that's hilarious about this. Fucking hell.
It's like I've been reading so much lately, and I've been trying to think. You know, I think inequality is the great problem of our time, and I know that many different incredibly intelligent people have written solutions that they think might work. And what I've been trying to do is look at the real world and see like what actually works. And where I land, I've heard this, I've made this speech a million times, and I'm actually kind of tired of making it, but it's so important to me that I'm going to say it one more time. What I currently stand is like, and this is from reading this book and The Great Leveler and Capital by Piketty and all these books. I think you might say the Nordic model now, or the US model in the 40s to 70s, which was kind of like high top tax rates.
The problem with this is it lacks political and historical context. This is why he doesn't understand politics. The Nordic model came from socialists who read Karl Marx and were applying his theories of class struggle. That's what you don't seem to understand. Does he think that the Nordic model happened because a bunch of neoliberals decided they wanted to do programs? No, they were socialist parties. Now, you could say they were electoralist or they were reformist or whatever, but they came in with the plan of trying to strangle capital in its cradle, create programs with the state that would slowly remove the existence of the capitalist class over time. There's something called the Meidner Plan. These social democracies are not the products of liberals. I'm sorry, they just aren't. Now, MLs say they are because they're fighting a battle of the 1930s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, where the Soviet bloc was against the Western bloc, and the Nordic model was oftentimes neutral states of Sweden and Finland, and the Austrians was a neutral state. And so, but that was the result of what? A political economy that existed as a result of World War II. You can't get the Nordic model out of neoliberalism. The Nordic model has government-owned enterprise. It has nationalisms, or not nationalisms, nationalizations. It has sectoral bargaining. It has all sorts of strong government-provided services. It's not about markets. It's about decommodifications. It's about expropriative taxes. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. And the Nordic model right now is collapsing because neoliberalism, the political economy of no longer having the Soviet Union there as a competition for Europe, has resulted in the left being overtaken by American dominance. And American dominance means American financial dominance. And without a dangerous competitor to keep the capitalist class nervous, they're refusing to grant concessions, and they're revoking concessions they previously made. You don't understand history. You don't understand politics, and you don't understand economics. And honestly, you scoff way too much about shit you don't even know. You don't think I've read Keynes? You don't think I've read Piketty? You don't think I'm aware of all the fucking center-left people? Like, you don't know the left. I know you backwards and forwards. Yet you decided the center left is correct without actually examining all the evidence and all the facts. And here's a cold-blooded fact. The fastest growing economy in human history is the People's Republic of China. From 1949 to today, no other group of human beings has seen their economic conditions improve faster than the people in China today. Period. And it's not like post-Mao. That includes Mao. Okay? That includes the Great Leap Forward. That includes all of the convulsions and problems that took place after the revolution. They averaged 6% growth per annum under Mao. It increased to 10% when all the sanctions were lifted under Deng. There has been, if you average all the years, there's never been a country that's grown faster. That's just a fact. Now, you said, I want to look at what the facts and reality. So if you want Nordic-style social democracy, you need to vote for people like me, not people like Atrioc. Atrioc isn't capable of engineering the political reality where a militarized, unionized, working class is fighting a class-conscious struggle against the capitalists, and the capitalists grant concessions like sectoral bargaining, free college, or free childcare, or free healthcare because they're scared of fucking losing everything. That's the political economy that he lacks. That's the historical knowledge that he lacks. He doesn't know about the Nordic model. He doesn't understand what we're talking about here. He doesn't know about the Meidner plan. He doesn't understand that the Nordic model is not the result of liberalism. That is just propaganda that MLs have put out and liberals have put out, and it serves a function for both of them. And you should understand that. The MLs say it because they're trying to tell you, you know, Sweden isn't that great. It's not good enough. It's still doing bad things. So don't think Sweden is the best, or Norway or Finland is the best. They're still doing bad shit. They still haven't solved all the problems. They're not the end goal. That's what MLs are trying to tell you. So they're degrading the Nordic model for their own political means, right? And liberals are trying to steal the valor of the Nordic model to pretend that it's actually a shine on them. It's not. The reality is far more complex, and you should be an adult about history. Norway being the partial exception due to a large number of state-owned enterprises and state ownership and publicly listed firms. Hey, does that sound like something Kamala Harris wanted to do? Was Kamala Harris talking about state-owned enterprise and owning companies with the government? The Nordic model began to gain attention after World War II and transformed in some ways over the last few decades, including increased deregulation and expanding privatization of public services. And it's just nonsensical, man.
Prosperous union membership, but still the wealth creation comes from free markets and innovation and lots of companies competing. Also, strong antitrust.
By the way, none of that is actually capitalism. Like, you could have a lot of companies competing and have them be owned by the workers, or have the companies be owned by the state. Like, markets just mean exchange, which those existed well before capitalism. What he's really saying is we should have large concentrations of wealth privately held by a few individuals, and they should make the major economic decisions. That's what he's saying. That's what capitalism actually is. It's good to have Elon Musk. It's good to have the Walton family. It's good to have Bezos making all the big economic decisions privately in a private dictatorship with no democratic input. That's what he's saying is preferable.
Enforcement to make monopolies break up. These are like the
monopolies break up. Monopolies break up. In other words, capitalism is when you do everything that's against capitalism. When the state comes in and arbitrarily breaks up companies for the interests of the common people, that's capitalism, according to him.
The components I see of like the best solution for a middle class. There, by the way, I want to say something that sounds obvious.
Why the fuck? Okay, another thing. Am I insane? Middle class? It's whatever's best for the middle class? What the fuck is the middle class? No, I'm serious. It's a misnomer created for propagandistic purposes to divide workers up into different discrete groups. The middle class. What, people that have jobs? They deserve to have a good life, but poor people don't? Poor children deserve to have bad lives and live in poverty? Poor countries deserve to be poor? Like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like, the reason why I'm saying what the fuck does that even mean is because it's a platitude spouted by politicians, but when you actually peel it back, it doesn't mean anything. Is a doctor middle class? Like a medical doctor. Is he middle class?
Yes, but it's kind of hard for people online to understand, which is that there has been no utopia in human history. In fact, our periods of like peace and stability are relatively rare in all of human history.
Guys, we haven't perfected the world. Therefore, what the status quo is actually the best. Do I even need to explain to you how that's fucking fallacious? Do I even need to explain to you how this is completely fallacious? No, it's actually good. It's good that Barry Weiss is getting trillions of dollars. I'm sorry, billions of dollars are flowing in to buy up all of American media so that Barry Weiss, a Zionist, can censor a news report about CCOT torturing American immigrants that were deported to El Salvador into a prison camp. It's actually good that billionaires can buy up TikTok so they can censor pro-Gaza content or pro-Palestinian content. That's actually good to have all that power in the hands of a few guys because the world's never been perfect.
Most experiments or most governments or most empires, they all end in disaster and failure. They all go poorly. And so these few decade-long period, multiple decade periods of like relative peace and prosperity are...
This is why I always say that like people that identify as liberals are fundamentally conservative. Like, this sounds like Oakeshott. Now, he doesn't know who Oakeshott is because he doesn't read books. He told you that to begin this video. I reject Marx, and I don't know what the arguments are that they're making. I have a third grader's half-heard stereotype about communism being utopic, which it's not. The whole point was that Marxism is a reaction to utopian socialism, which is the idea that we could convince the upper class to give up power with reasoned argument. Whereas Marxism is the study of dialectical materialism applied to humans, human society, which is the idea that there is a struggle between the haves and the have-nots. And that's how you could explain human history. The various structures that have been developed so that the people in power can maintain their position. And we went from ancient societies to feudal societies to capitalist societies, and the ruling classes changed as the means of production advanced. The means and modes of production, right? And capitalism overtook feudalism because capitalism was a new epoch in human development. Namely, we came up with technologies, both social and physical, to increase production and allow the accumulation of private capital that was strong enough to then overtake structures of feudalism and prior more outmoded forms of human economic productivity. Like, that is what Marx is saying. He's not saying we all kumbaya, we'll all just get along. It's the opposite. The opposite is capitalism had to have revolutions to get rid of feudalism. Think of the American Revolution. Think of the French Revolution. Think about the English Civil War. Think about the way, the German reunification, Italian reunification. Think about all the ways that the wars and revolutions failed and successful of 1848. If you actually know your history, you'll understand that feudalism didn't calmly pass to capitalism. Capitalism had to, the bourgeois class had to overthrow feudalism through war. And thus, communists, socialists believe we will probably have to do the same capitalism. Now, some people say, hey, we have this, maybe we can use parliamentary democracy. Maybe we can hijack the existing states and social relations, and we could do a transition, and capitalists will wither away slowly over time. And other people believe it's going to be a violent rupture because the capitalists are going to fight back to maintain their position.
Worth studying because they don't exist normally. And a lot of people make it sound like it's so easy. If we just did this, if we just do this, well, then we're good. And that's just not true. And
if we just do this, then we're good. That's just not true. I mean, this is baby talk. This is baby talk. I can't even formulate a response to this because it's baby talk. Is he saying that America has the perfect public policies? Or is he saying that if we adopted different public policies, they would be good for some people and worse for some people, so that we're kind of at a perio-optimal public policy set, and there's no way to improve public policy in a way that everybody's lives would be better off? What is he trying to say? It's actually too simplified for me to even formulate a point. I think you're being hypercritical. Yes, because this guy is my political foe. Just because he calls himself a Democrat or whatever the fuck, he's arguing shit that could come out of Ron DeSantis's mouth.
People smarter than all of us have thought about these problems and come up with solutions that often didn't work or stumped them. And so it's kind of reductive to be like, oh yeah, I got it figured out. I'm a 24-year-old Discord kitten with an anime profile picture. The solution is just this. No, you don't. You don't have it figured out, bro. Stop. Please. I
think one of the things about this type of content is it's basically telling people that it's okay you're a moron and that you don't know anything because we don't know what the answers are. And the reason why he's saying that is this is a pathetic defense of the status quo. Actually, we do know a lot of the solutions to most of the problems. Like, for example, Medicare for all has been studied. And according to the CBO and Yale epidemiologists, it would save $500 billion a year and 69,000 lives a year, and provide higher quality care for everyone, as trillions of dollars would be shifting from maintaining these private insurance bureaucracies toward developing increased availability of care. And because of the preventative care that would then be available to people, the incidence of disease in this country would go down. That is a public policy that we know we could implement, that would not be difficult to implement as far as policy-wise, that would be objectively good for you, which would result in you having better health care and more take-home pay, but it would require the destruction of an accumulation of private capital, aka health insurance companies, which are parasitic on our economy, and it would require state action. We know this. This is well studied. This is a fact. This is not an opinion. This is a fact. The only reason Democrats like Atrioc say we can't do this is because, well, Americans like their private insurance and it wouldn't be politically possible. It wouldn't be popular. But when you show them polls saying 60% of people support Medicare for all, what do? They try to find arguments for why it would lose. Instead of saying, wow, it's the correct public policy and it's popular, why don't we fight tooth and nail to get it? Well, because this guy doesn't actually know what the fuck he's talking about. He's right. He is the equivalent of a 24-year-old Discord kitten. And some problems are difficult. I don't think we have the exact path for solving climate change, right? But you know what we do have? A lot of low-hanging fruit. We could build a lot of solar panels in the fucking desert. We could build a lot of wind farms in the plains. We could build ultra-high voltage direct current lines to connect the East Coast to the West Coast to the Texas grids. We can interconnect the country. We can invest billions of dollars in making renewable energy the dominant form of energy in our country, and it would result in cheaper electricity that was cleaner. We know that. We have the engineering. We have the manufacturing capability. We know how to do it. It's a matter of political will and dislodging incumbents who make billions of dollars from the current dysfunction. And that's a difficult political fight. But with people like Atrioc on my team, we're never going to get it done. This guy doesn't even have the confidence to tell you what is right or wrong. And by the way, I'm not saying this because I think it's easy. I'm saying it because I read the CBO report. I'm saying this because I read the Yale epidemiologist study. I believe this because I studied the healthcare systems in Germany, in France, in Israel, unfortunately, in Sweden, in Norway, in Canada, in the UK. I've actually done the homework, and I can tell you what we should do from where we are to get a better outcome. And yes, there would be some losers. The health insurance company bureaucrats. Boo fucking who? Get a new job.
Please open your mind a little bit to the fact that perhaps there's more beyond what you've personally studied or listened to. But that's where I'm at now, you know, and I think it's going to evolve as I read more. I will say on the subject of Marx.
Why the fuck? Okay, so wait, you don't know what you've done. So you are such a fucking cynic, dude. You saw Hassan was there and Asmongold was there and said, I'm going to be the guy in the middle. I'm going to be the guy in the middle. I haven't studied anything, so I don't know if Hassan's right or wrong about anything, but I'm just going to position myself to his right because there's a market opportunity. This is what you think of politics? That's what politics is to you? A market opportunity? A way to make money? That is so cynical and disgusting. I don't know what else to say.
Well, I should do a whole separate video, but on the subject of Marx, I read the Communist Manifesto in full. I just wanted to, you know, because
Communist Manifesto is a political pamphlet. It is not Marx's study of economics. That's called capital. It is rhetoric. It is observations and rhetoric so people could understand the insights. That's not Marx. Jesus Christ.
I think I would be critical of it, and so I wanted to read it before I made up my mind. And there's a lot I should get into this more that I disagree with. But
what? He can't even tell you when he disagrees with the Communist Manifesto. I don't believe you read it. I don't believe you read it and comprehended it. I could bring up the Communist Manifesto and show you shit. And you'd be like, oh my God, that's real. That's happening right now. And you would be like shocked at how smart Marx was when he wrote this pamphlet. You did not read it. You did not read it. I want to show you what I'm talking about. There's no fucking way he read it. You're going to tell me he disagrees with this. Bourgeois has disclosed how it came to pass that the brutal display of vigor in the Middle Ages, which reactionaries so much admire, found its fitting component in the most slothful indolence. It has been the first to show what man's activity can bring about. It has accomplished wonders far surpassing Egyptian pyramids, Roman aqueducts, and Gothic cathedrals. It has conducted expeditions that put into shade all former exoduses of nations and crusades. The bourgeoisie cannot exist without constantly revolutionizing the instruments of production and thereby the relations of production, and with them the whole relations of society. Conservation of the old modes of production in unaltered form was, on the contrary, the first condition of existence for all earlier industrial classes. Constant revolutionizing of production, uninterrupted disturbance of all social conditions, everlasting uncertainty and agitation distinguish the bourgeois epoch from all earlier ones. All fixed, Fast frozen relations with their train of ancient and venerable prejudices and opinions are swept away. All new formed ones become antiquated before they can ossify. All that is solid melts into air. All that is holy profaned, and man is at last compelled to face with sober senses his real conditions of life and his relations with his kind. The need of a constantly expanding market for its products chases the bourgeois over the entire surface of the globe. It must nestle everywhere, settle everywhere, establish connections everywhere. The bourgeois has, through its exploitation of the world market, given a cosmopolitan character to production and consumption in every country. To the great chagrin of reactionists, it has drawn from under the feet of industry the national ground on which it has stood. All old established national industries have been destroyed or daily being destroyed. They are being dislodged by new industries whose introduction becomes a life and death question for all civilized nations, by industries that no longer work up indigenous raw material, but raw material drawn from the remotest zones, industries whose products are consumed not only at home, but on every quarter of the globe. In the pace of old wants satisfied by the production of the country, we find new wants, requiring for their satisfaction the products of distant lands and climes. In the place of the old local and national seclusion and self-sufficiency, we have intercourse in every direction, universal interdependence of nations. As in material, so also in intellectual production. The intellectual creations of individual nations has become common property. National one-sidedness and narrow-mindedness become more and more impossible. And from the numerous national and local literatures, there arises a world literature. Guys, he disagrees with this? By the way, written in when? When was this written? When was it written? The answer is 1848. Hey, dumb fuck, you're telling me, by the way, this was before the age of globalism or whatever the hell else, right? You're telling me that this isn't still true? You're telling me that Marx did not perfectly analyze what made capitalism different from feudalism and delivered it in two pithy paragraphs? The bourgeoisie, by rapid improvement of all instruments of production, by the immensely facilitated means of communication, draws even the most barbarian nations into civilization. The cheap prices of commodities are the heavy artillery with which it batters down all Chinese walls, with which it forces the barbarians' intensely obstinate hatred of foreigners to capitulate. It compels all nations on pain of extinction to adopt the bourgeois mode of production. It compels them to introduce what it calls civilization into their midst, i.e. to become bourgeois themselves. In one word, it creates a world after its own image. Is that not true? So he disagrees with the Communist Manifesto. What do you disagree with, buddy? Can you say something that I could argue against?
I particularly liked what I think me and Marx could go handshake emoji on. What me and Marx could handshake emoji on, estate taxes. You know, if anyone's watched my content for a long time, I am so pro estate taxes, and like heavy ones. I mean, I don't think he phrases it in the way I'm phrasing it, like estate tax at a high rate, but he has this general concept of like heavy estate taxes, and that's probably 100% to him. That's probably
the guy who didn't read the book bullshitting to the teacher in class.
100%. But to me, you know, a high, even 80% estate tax is like totally reasonable. It's totally reasonable because I think one of the biggest corrupting things in society is deeply inherited wealth. Even someone as obscene as Jeff Bezos, you might say. I find Jeff Bezos' grandson being a billionaire forever. Dude, I'm dying. I'm dying. He's killing me. I find the Walton family to be much more damaging to the social fabric than Sam Walton himself being rich in his time. So we got to combat.
Okay, so what Atriarch is saying is it's good that Jeff Bezos became a 100 billionaire because he didn't allow the guys in the warehouse to take a piss break. It's good that the society is so fucking depraved that people cannot feel like they can leave a warehouse job where it's 120 degrees in the warehouse and they can't take a piss. Right? He likes that society is so fucking coercive that poor people are so desperate for work that they have to work in those inhumane conditions, and all the profit of their all the surplus value of their job goes to one guy. He thinks that's a good idea, good system. But when that guy leaves it to his child, well, now that's where it becomes depraved. Have you considered it was depraved when he made the money with the extremely overly exploitative jobs? Have you considered that maybe Jeff Bezos was a piece of shit himself?
At capitalism, then? Well, listen, I think I'm disagreeing with you, but I think when you talk about socialism or capitalism, the problem is that nobody agrees on definitions. What you call capitalism and what I call it might be entirely different things. And then we talk past each other and then nobody's happy. And often we agree on a lot of things, but because of our terms, there's no progress.
So chat, what he's saying here, it sounds superficially reasonable. The reason why I'm going so hard against it, and this is Mike from PA, so sorry, I'm like this. The reason why I'm going so hard against it is because it's fuzzy thinking bullshit for a grifter. Basically, what he's doing is he's giving himself the permission that if he ever has to engage with, like, say, me, Hassan, or any other leftist, he could just claim to agree with everything. Oh, I don't disagree with you on that. Medicare for all is good, actually. My version of capitalism includes Medicare for all. That way he could just float on the surface of sentiment and the algo. Whatever is popular in the moment, he could take a dip in, because he doesn't actually state any fundamental principles or ideas or ways of approaching the world that would require him to be consistent or make a principled distinction, right? Like he's not doing that. He's just saying like, oh, we all just disagree on definitions. And well, you know, that's a 5-minute conversation where we hammer out the definitions and then have a conversation, right? Why are you pretending like this is all so fuzzy and so hard? You can't communicate. You can't say, I think socialism is X. You think socialism is Y. Let's agree that it's your definition for the purpose of our conversation. I don't like your version of socialism because why is that hard? It takes 5 minutes.
What I would say is, like all human systems, all of them, every human system, including 50, 60s, Russia, you can look at China under Mao, you can look at all systems, right? What I want to say is that I think this is kind of from the book Great Leveler, which is that all human societies tend to, and this includes the one I'm talking about, the socialist ones and the capitalist ones, they tend to have inequality rise over time because human beings, no matter what the game is, find a way to, they adapt to the meta. Every system has built-in entropy and they adapt to the meta. They have a hierarchy, they have an elite class. People exploit the system. It's very silly to imply that like
Okay, so his argument is that inequality always increases over time. Wrong! There's been plenty of times where inequality has gone down. We call it the Great Compression. I'm surprised he's never heard of it. The Great Compression refers to the period of substantial wage compression in the United States that began in the early 40s. During that time, economic inequality as shown by wealth distribution and income distribution between the rich and poor became much smaller than it had been in preceding time periods. Wrong! Inequality doesn't always get worse. And in fact, inequality got much better under the Soviet Union than it was under the Tsar. Inequality became much better under Mao than it was under the warlords and the nationalists. What are you saying? What are you saying now? Yes, China right now has high inequality because there are a few people that are mega billionaires, but they have eradicated extreme poverty. America has 2% extreme, 1 to 2% extreme poverty. China has 0. They've reduced the number of billionaires in China by 4% or 40%. How much has the number of billionaires in China decreased in the last 4 years? Oh, the AI. AI has an answer for me. Atriarch probably likes AI. China's billionaire count has significantly decreased by over 1/3. Oh, thank you, AI. As China is hit by economic slowdown. By the way, the economic slowdown is the economy grew by 5%. The economy didn't actually just decrease. It just grew at 5%. China's dwindling number of billionaires. So I guess income inequality is going down in China as their economy continues to grow. So that's not true. So we have the Great Depression, excuse me, the Great Compression, and we have the Chinese example. I guess we just are going to go back to this.
The inner circle of the Communist Party in Russia during Stalin's time did not have an extreme advantage over the common people. They got, it might be like a situation where all housing is free, but for a regular person, you're waiting 20 years to get a shit house on a list, and someone close to the party gets an incredible one in a short term. That's just how things, the power tends to concentrate. And so you have to fight it. It's always a fight against entropy. Yeah, I think you have to fight the bad parts of any system. And that's why I've been leaning towards this like guardrailed capitalism, kind of like what they have in the Nordics, where that, you know, there's billionaires in Sweden, but Sweden also has high top tax rates and a strongly funded social safety net. So that if you try a business idea and fail, you still have healthcare, You still have schooling. You still have, and I think one quote that is like really important for people to understand and drill in is that Winston Churchill one about democracy being the worst form of government ever designed, except for all the others. I think you should have that no matter what system you like. You should think that about your system. You should understand that every system sucks. Every system has deep weaknesses that are exploited by human beings who are trying to rise up in it. And so no matter what system you decide to fight for, I don't really care. You know, it's your choice. Understand that if you think of it like as a utopia, you're going to fail and you're going to be sad, and people are going to be sad and starve. What you have to do is think of it as like, this is the best thing we got, and we have to.
So I think another way of explaining what Atrioc's position is basically the system's working for me. I'm a rich streamer. And so why, you know, those of you for who it's not working, maybe consider how it could be worse for people like me. It's meaningless word vomit. Like, for example, the housing system I suggest, Vienna, Austria's housing system, where 60% of people live in social and public housing. The average wait time is between 2 months and 2 years, depending on how picky you are. Like whether you want it in a very specific district of the city, whether you want a specific like amenity. And that includes starting waiting when you're 18. That list includes people waiting starting when they're 18. Guaranteed apartment for cheap when you're 18 years old. He says that's not utopia. Now, I don't know what utopia is to Atrioc, but to me, it's a hell of a lot, you know, paying $600 a month for an apartment in a world-class city like Vienna compared to paying $5,000 a month in a shithole car-dependent city like LA. I think the Viennese model is superior. If you want to call that utopia, call it utopia. I say better.
Fight, we have to punch it, and we have to like work our hardest to make it palatable, to make it work for real life. That's what I'm trying to get across, because this is the way humans are. Like, listen, it's a modern marvel that we even have these periods of stability, given how much of human history is filled with poverty and war and disaster. And capitalism is perfect until we burn up the planet in a few years. Listen, man, I'm also pro-environment. Listen,
I'm also pro-environment. It's all stable right now, guys. Meanwhile, there's a genocide being done by our country in Gaza. We're supporting allies of ours are doing a genocide in Sudan. The United States of America is sanctioning, killing tens of millions of people with unilateral sanctions. Now, Atrioc would never say the people killed by our sanctions were killed by capitalism. He would blame, I don't know, American foreign policy or some hand wave bullshit. But that's the reality.
It's just us talking passionately with definitions, but like, would you agree that the largest emissions producer right now is China? Like by a lot? No, I don't think China.
The reason why China is the largest emissions producer is because they are the world's factory. And because of the United States threatening them with blockades, like, you know how they're doing Vienna and Venezuela right now? The United States threatens China with blockades at the Malacca Strait. So China uses coal because that's the fossil fuel they have available, domestically produced, so they have energy security. However, they're spending hundreds of billions of dollars on renewable energy and nuclear and fusion and hydro and wind and solar and tidal and geothermal. They are literally decarbonizing their economy right now while also increasing the number of electricity because they're raising 800 million people out of poverty. The United States of America has less emissions because, one, our economy doesn't manufacture fuck all. Two, we transition from coal to natural gas. Natural gas has less carbon intensity than coal. But as far as building renewables, we're not doing it. Trump just canceled 4 major renewable projects. You're lying about China in order to, because, and by the way, it's a snapshot in time. China is racing towards a decarbonized future at fucking light speed on their new high-speed rail train, while the United States is shutting down renewable projects and building more coal plants for our dumb AI slop. What the fuck are you talking about, man?
As socialist, really, but yeah, like even in that example, it's like we have to, not by population. You mean per capita is what you mean. Well, that's correct, but by raw amount. You know, when the forests are burning, the raw amount matters. Pollution matters, right? That's where the pollution is. And it's going up. They are moving towards solution way faster. Again, that sounds like propaganda, man. Because, you know, if you look at the graph, the China one is completely up to the right. The EU is moving the fastest if you had to pick one. The EU is the one that's gone down, and America is the second most going down. It's the one decreasing. I think a lot of this stuff's not based on reality. Hey, Doug. Doug is talking about the purge again.
So by the way, he's just completely uneducated as usual. I read part of the Communist Manifesto and I disagree. What do you disagree with? No specific. Oh, China's faster. Oh, that sounds like propaganda. Here's the carbon brief. China's CO2 emissions have been flat or falling for 18 months. Oh, Mike, it's because their economy must be getting worse. Must be getting, oh. Here's the Peterson Institute for International Economics. China expanded grid with low carbon energy. I mean, this is 3 weeks old, so it's really out of date. Oh, here's from the World Economic Forum. China's renewable energy boom has its own challenges. Here's what we can learn. China's approach to renewable energy build-out combines large-scale investment, technological innovation, and market reform. China is installing more renewables than any other economy, but that rollout is not without its challenges. China's is the world's largest energy consumer and greenhouse gas emitter. It is also undergoing one of the most ambitious energy transitions in history. Guided by its goals of peaking carbon emissions before 2030 and achieving carbon neutrality by 2060, the country is rapidly reshaping its power system to accommodate a new generation of clean energy. And this is just reality. So he's saying propaganda. What are facts? The problem with people like Atriok is because he's underread, he assumes you are too. I would love to debate you. Anytime, any place. Gavin Newsom fan.
Bro, we had to listen. I'm gonna say this. This is a live exclusive. Doug, I think we're gonna cut down that purge section because you're gonna get comments. We're gonna have to cut that down, bro. I mean, you were obviously joking, and I have no problem. But you said it so many times that I think you're gonna be annoyed with the comments. That I would like to protect you in general. But I'll leave this in the Big A clip and say you're pro purge.
Yikes. All right, chat. That's where I'm gonna be. Liberals, man. That's the best of the best. By the way, Gavin Newsom ducked me.
Talking about people's lived experience. And we missed that. And with Atriok, he kept bringing that back, that systemically for decades, this economy has not been working. 10% of people own 2/3 of the wealth. Half the consumer spending is that top 10%.
Bro, this guy might be president. Bro, I got Brandon G.H. Ewing got this guy that might be president. So to realize that's crazy, bro. That's crazy.
What's with the giggling?
That's crazy.
This thing, the stock market is 7 damn stocks, maybe 10, but primarily 7, mostly in California. And so that reality, he burst in a way that pierced me even more than all the intellectual punditry, the things you've written and other people have written, because
Look at that, 157 likes.
We're not talking about people's lived.
This is our next president. 157 likes. What a fucking leader. All right, everybody, that's going to be it for me today. Thank you for all of the Christmas gifts. I hope the energy wasn't too negative today. I feel like I've been fired up lately. People have been more annoying lately, but I've also been more fired up. And I want you guys to start realizing that we are not in a time to be making friends with liberals. Now is the time to be making arguments against them, because this is a moment of rupture for liberalism where it's been proven to be wrong. And what they're trying to do is ride it out and then win based on thermostatic effects against Trump. And then if that happens, we'll be right back where we are now, but worse with Nick Fuentes or Tucker Carlson as president. We need radical change now. Liberalism, Atriok liberalism, is going to lead us into literal hell. We already are feeling it. Did you learn your lesson from Kamala Harris yet? We cannot have Kamala Harris or Gavin Newsom be the Democratic nominee for president if the human race is going to survive. It's that serious. Anyway, thank you guys, gals, non-binary pals for all the gifts. Hope you have a good holiday. I am 95% chance going to stream tomorrow. I may give myself a day off, but 95% chance for streaming tomorrow. So it's pretty high, So I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Peace out. Solidarity forever. Free Palestine.